Yeah, welcome everyone to Saturday Night Star Trek. If you're out there in Vegas at the Star Trek convention, please do us a favor and celebrate real Star Trek while you're out there. If you're listening out there, and because since went ahead and had all the trouble to actually have a Star Trek convention, at least celebrate the real thing if you would out there. And I hope you're all having a fantastic time out there in Vegas. And a big shout out to all of our dear friends who are out there. I wish I was there. We both would have loved to have seen you all, but I hope you're having a fantastic time. And I am automatically, by default, having a fantastic time because I'm here with the greatest first officer in the fleet. And it is impossible to have a bad time when I'm hanging out with my best bud. Number one, great to see you.
I love you so much. I missed you all week, and I am so happy to be here. And if you would have been able to make Vegas, their wild horses could not drag me away from going to that convention. But you know what? We're going to just save up all that love and all that excitement for next year.
Yes.
I also would like to say hello to everyone who is at Star Trek Las Vegas and everyone who is at the meetup. And I hope you all have a wonderful time. We miss you around here, and we hope you take a few minutes to tune in. But at the same time, we also have so many wonderful people in the chat, and I missed this community over the week. It is so good to see all of you.
Absolutely. And all of you being our wonderful friends, we always love to shout out to you. We'll do show notes after we do some shout outs. And then, of course, Phantom Outsider, buddy. Hey. The wonderful Felicianos are here, both Raymond and Sandra.
Hey-o. Zathras I'm sorry that I missed the first shout out, but Zathras says, I use that opening music when I get out of the shower, naked, looking in the mirror.
Hey, it's public domain, Zathras. Use it any way you like.
It is. It's Aaron Kenny. Just, crank it up. Anyway, really, sorry to interrupt you.
I hear that all the time. I hear that theme in my head all the time. I really love it. The magnificent Arvin Avalon, who once again last night on my great buddy Paulie's Latino Slant karaoke show last night was magnificent. Your singing is beautiful. Your voice is beautiful. And I really enjoyed it. And again, all the ladies there who sang were fantastic. And I think Nina Infinity was there. And the other, I think there was another lady there. But you were terrific, as always, Arwen.
Love you, Arwen.
Well done, my dear. Truly incredible. Let's see who is here with us. The great D. Bud Martin.
Hey, D. Bud Martin.
What is up, Bud?
Nice
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Pat S. Yo, Pat S. What's up, man?
Hey, Pat S. Nice to see you, sir.
All right, boy, Pat S. Good to see you there, man. Snorta Poopas, Cuber.
Snorta Poopas!
Cuber.
Oh, could never get enough of it. Hey there, Stephen Thompson. Welcome.
Hey, Stephen Thompson.
Greetings, Mr. Angel. Good to see you there.
Hey, our chef. What do you got cooking up tonight?
I did. It's right, a chef. Okay, yeah, I remember that now. Hey, Darth Astor. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, man.
Hey, nice to see you. Thank you for coming.
Zathras 61. There is not exactly 61 Zathrases. It's just a number. There could be even more. I'm sorry. I'm doing crappy Zathras, but I love him. My goodness. Bop. Where are we? Okay. Steve Mitchum, buddy.
Hey, Steve Mitchum, Maddie's daddy. How is this sweet little angel tonight? Please kiss her whole beautiful face for all of us because she's just such a special and wonderful little girl. And I hear she's crawling, so she's going to be nothing but trouble here on out.
That's what they're supposed to be, especially at that age. That's her job. Brother, I wish we could have. If I could have made it to Vegas, we would have been able to hang out, brother.
Yes.
So, but man, and I hope. I don't know if Steve got to see any of our friends out there since he's out there. I don't know if he got to see any of our friends out there or not. Some of our good buddies are there. I think Eric K is there.
Yeah.
Of course, my buddy Garrett Nerdrotic, who deserves a big bow for putting all that together and all with the Geeks and Gamers and all those wonderful people. But our great buddy Nick is out there as well. So some good buds out there. Father Miller, some
Yeah.
really great folks are out there, and I hope they're having a great time.
Nick is with Comics Division tonight, two friends of mine. So,
Oh yes,
I'm so excited that those two will be palling around, and I can't wait to see what happens from that friendship. It's obviously going to be hysterical. I hope they eat something and record it.
oh okay. Well, yeah. Look, I hope they do too. And
Yeah.
yes, in the Comics Division, another good dude, and I hope you are having a wonderful time out there. Hail to Comics Division. Our buddy Nick, Nick from Alco Base went out there. A lot of great people went out there, and
Yeah.
a lot of people that I enjoy, whose vids I enjoy. And I saw it today. Gary went on live with the Salty Nerd and live at the con. And oh man, the con was really strict about the stupid mask stuff in there. But anyway, they had a couple of people. There was one cosplayer came over there that you'd have got a kick out of. Raquel was the Salt Vampire from Man Trap, but was kind of like a white. It looked more like a cross, but I mean, did a good job with the mask and everything. Big, like a big individual. Although it was a lady, but it was kind of like this white fur. It was almost like, is that a cross between a Mugatu and a Salt Vampire? No offense.
Oh no.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're having having a great time.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Tyrell 72.
Hey, Tyrell, thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Your Muslim uncle, buddy. Good to see you.
Good evening, fine sir. Thank you so much for showing up and for supporting the channel in this show.
Always great to see you, sir. Always great to see you. Wolfie 752.
Ow, ow, ow! Love you, Wolfie.
The great Mark D with a C.
Mwah, mwah. Love you, Mark.
Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy, as always. The wonderful anti-derivative Jill.
Hey, Jill, my fellow nerd. We're surrounded by geeks, but I have one of my fellow nerds here. So good to see you, Jill.
Lovely to see you, Jill. I know you were having, as she just said, she's having dinner, but she's listening. So it is absolutely wonderful to have you here, Jill. Hey, the Wake Down. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Thanks for popping in. And of course, it would never be quite Saturday Night Star Trek without some Canadian wrench greatness. The amazing, the great Chris Persia. What's up, buddy?
Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much for showing up tonight, and thank you for wrenching for us.
Good to see you, brother, as always. Well, but if anyone else pops in, we will of course acknowledge him. A couple of quick show notes before we get before we leave Space Dock. Let's see here. Monday night. It is, of course, as you all know, Clobberin Time. It's Jack Kirby month on Clobberin Time, and as Jack Kirby month continues,
Yeah.
I will have an old buddy of mine, John Cimino, who is, of course, not only the agent for the legendary comic book figure. This name won't mean much to anyone outside of comics fandom, but the great Roy Thomas, who publishes with Tomorrow's, my favorite publisher, Alter Ego magazine. The newest issue, as you can see there, is, of course, all Kirby. And John has an article he wrote for it. He contributes to them and stuff. And in fact, I'll be studying up on the article tomorrow night. And John and Roy also has a nice article about Jack in there. So, of course, the whole issue is devoted to Jack. And so I will be talking to John Migo Stretch Hulk Cimino. That's his middle name.
Yeah, so cool. That's why I was like, the second I saw it, I actually remember one of those kicking around. Those are cool.
Yes, he's proud of his Migo Stretch Hulk, and he calls himself John Migo Stretch Hulk because of it. So
There was an entire generation of stretch toys, though, if memory serves me correctly.
Well,
weren't there?
Well, it was Stretch Armstrong way back when. Then they did a superhero line that were kind of copies of Stretch Armstrong that Migo made. And Migo made the superhero ones they have jelly in them.
Yeah.
And a Snail Messiah. Hey there.
Hey, welcome.
Good to see you. So yeah, and again, that's it. So he's proud. He still has his original Migo Stretch Hulk, and that's from the late 70s or early 80s or whatever.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and he's an awesome dude, and he's, of course, I love Alter Ego. I'm a sucker for Tomorrow's magazines. They do the best books about comic book history, and of course, I have every issue of Back Issue magazine, the Bronze Age mag. They do the Jack Kirby Collector. I have every issue of that, and goes back to the 90s. And I have a whole bunch of Alter Ego. I buy it every month when there's something there I really want to get. And this is a great issue, and I'm looking forward to hanging with my buddy John for that, for Jack Kirby month.
That sounds like such a cool show.
It will be fun.
Yeah.
John is like me, but when it comes to comics history, he loves to talk all that silly crap. Wednesday night, the J-Man will be joining me. J-Man has a cool channel out there. I don't know what he's up to today. And another one, man, I meet all the best Canadians on YouTube. Right? And J-Man is
you have a pocket full of Canadians. We love you.
Thank you. I hate this movie, or hated it in 2012 when I saw it, and I've only watched it once. So J-Man and I've talked about this. I've decided to give this movie another go because everyone and their mother thinks it's the greatest everything movie ever made and all this other crap. It gets all this praise heaped upon it, meaning the film Dread. So I have decided to watch it again, and I have. And I'm going, and I'm not going to spoiler whether I like what I thought about it. Have I changed my mind on it? Do I still hate it? We will see.
Ooh.
We will see. So
you'll have to tune in to find out. Does it still suck?
Wednesday night. That's right. Wednesday night. That'll be a special time, though. It'll be 7 p.m. Eastern for everyone. So 6. And then Thursday on the Global Geek Gang.
There he is.
The
My
great
guy.
of the galaxy.
Yeah.
The birthday for the great one.
It is. Yeah, it's his birthday. I'm very excited about it. Look at how handsome he is.
Indeed, the Grand Admiral of them all there, the Great Bird, and the Global Geek Gang shall gather to just pay a little tribute to the great Gene Roddenberry. So who gave us our show tonight, right? So
yes,
yeah. So we
miss him.
Gene. Absolutely, we love him, and we'll just show him a little love.
Yeah.
How about we show him a little love on Thursday on his what is of course the day of his birth. Let's see here. All right, everyone. Well, before we're finally about to get started, but first, my wonderful first officer is an author in her own right, and here's of course the link to her wonderful works. And make sure I got the right link. I did. There you go. Thought I put the wrong one for a minute. So tell them about it right quick, and then we'll just.
That's so kind of you. You know, you don't have to do that, and I absolutely love that you support my work. But it's not necessary. This space that you've created, you're just so generous with everyone who knows you. You are such a great friend. Yeah, I write science fiction, so. If you like Philip K. Dick, if you like Edgar Allan Poe, if you like short stories, if you like The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits and that sort of flavor, I write short fiction forms, especially flash fiction, and you can buy it on Amazon under my name, R.M. Briggs, and you can also get it on your Kindle device.
Hey, you know, it's anything for you. You know that, and I want to support you in any way I can because you're the best. Well, tonight, folks, we have 5 episodes. We're going to finish up season 1.
Yes.
And isn't it a bright, lovely day? Just kidding. We got season 2 to do, so don't get too excited. But I will let my first officer explain what we're referencing, and we'll get going. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. So around here, we use a vetted, printed, edited reference guide whenever we're doing this show, because, you know, a lot of the stuff that you're seeing online, it's not really fact, it's factoid, it's factoid lore, you know, fan lore, and it's told so many times that people think that it's true. Well, we try and wade through that around here. So tonight we'll be using Star Trek 365, The Next Generation by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman, and they do a lot of interviews. They interview producers. They get behind the scenes verification for some of these things that we say about each episode. And this book was also christened by the great Ronald D. Moore. So we'll be reading from this book, and this is basically a picture book. And one of the reasons why we chose it is not only because it offers some of that behind the scenes verified information, but also because it's very concise, because it is a visual book. And then, of course, once we're done reading from the book, I throw it over to Clobby, and he adds his expertise, what he knows about the episode. And then I talk about my show notes, what I know about the episode. And then we turn to our amazing chat chat. And we have the greatest assembly of some of the best Trekkies on the internet. And so between the book, Clobby, myself, and our amazing chat, we come together to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of every episode. And tonight we're doing 5 because we want to tidy up season 1. But normally we just do 4 episodes. But let's dig into it.
Before we get started, I want to say thank you, your Muslim uncle, for a $4.99 super sticker.
Thank you.
I cannot thank you enough for that, my good friend. We really appreciate it. It is always a pleasure to have you pop in and hang out with us. So much obliged to you, your Muslim uncle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And a big hello to the great Captain is Decorated Replicant Spock.
Hey, nice
What's
to
up?
see you. And
What's up
you know,
there,
you're
buddy?
keeping your middle name pretty consistent these days,
Yes.
Captain Spock.
He is. I'm getting used to it now,
He
Cap.
is. Yes.
Yes. And like you said the other day when I popped in on you, soon, after we get through this theme month of Jack Kirby month, we shall either here or there, your channel or mine, we will get together and talk about those old independent comics of the 80s that you want to speak of.
Ooh.
So
I love it whenever you're a subject matter expert on a channel, because then you're not beholden to being this host and facilitating others. People just get to pick your brain, and you are the grand poobah of all geeks and geekdom, and you're the grand curator. So I love it when you get interviewed. So that should be very exciting. And Captain Spock, way to nail a great interview.
well, we can do it here or there. I'd love to come over there for him, but yeah, well, thank you. Well, thank you so much. Well, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do
we got
it.
5 episodes tonight. We promise everyone to be, well, I don't know about brief. Well, briefer than for us. How about that?
Yes, we're going to try and be
For
as
us.
quick as possible. Yes.
Yes.
So, Symbiosis, Season 1, Episode 22. You're going to be seeing this show up as 21 on your streaming, of course, because the pilot, right? And, of course, this is not in production order. This is in broadcast order. So this first aired April 18th, 1988. And if you're following along in the block text, we are on tile 61. I'm going to read extemporaneously, so don't throw fruit, because I haven't read this before. We'll read it extemporaneously, and then we'll discuss it very organically. So without further ado, let's get to it. The Enterprise comes to the aid of a disabled freighter transporting valuable cargo from one world to its planetary neighbor. Picard learns that for 2 centuries, the Breckians, owners of the freighter, have been supplying the Onarans with a drug called Felicium, which the Onarans need to battle a terrible plague on their world. In exchange, the Onarans have been supporting the Breckians' comfortable lifestyle. But while the 2 species fight over the payment of the undelivered shipment, Dr. Crusher realizes that the Onarans were cured of the plague long ago. Felicium now serves only as a narcotic, and the Breckians know it. Although Crusher's first instinct is to enlighten the Onarans, Picard warns that the Prime Directive prohibits telling the beleaguered Onarans that their neighbors have turned them into drug addicts. However, he does have a solution, one that will be painful to both species. It was 1988, and the Just Say No campaign against recreational drugs launched by First Lady Nancy Reagan was in full swing. More than 12,000 Just Say No clubs were in operation, across the country and around the world. According to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Library, and Mrs. Reagan spent much of her spare time making public appearances to support the crusade. Although the campaign was lauded by many, it was belittled by those who felt that the program didn't go far enough in addressing the many social issues, such as unemployment, poverty, and family disillusion that are often conducive to drug use. Star Trek episodes have often served as metaphors for social issues, but the Just Say No campaign seemed an odd choice for a TNG message episode. The various Star Trek series, and in fact creator Gene Roddenberry, were more likely to lean left than right when taking the scripted stance. Still, there it was, a conversation between Tasha Yar and Wesley Crusher. Toward the end of the episode that could easily have served as a Just Say No public service announcement. And here's the dialogue. Wesley, how can a chemical substance provide an escape? Tasha, it doesn't, but it makes you think it does. You have to understand, drugs can make you feel good. They make you feel on top of the world. You're happy, sure of yourself, in control. But it's artificial. It doesn't feel artificial until the drug wears off. Then you pay the price. Before you know it, you're taking the drug not to feel good, but to keep from feeling bad. And that's the trap? All you care about is getting your next dosage. Nothing else matters. I guess I just don't understand. Wesley, I hope you never do. And we'll turn the page. And that is all the block text has to say about the episode Symbiosis. Now, before we get to the chat and before we get to my notes, I'm going to throw it over to my captain. Captain, what did you think of the coverage and the episode Symbiosis?
Well, first, hello there, Project Storytime. Good to see you, buddy. And Phoenix Argus, hey there.
Hey, welcome.
New arrivals, always good to see you there. You know, that's interesting. It's interesting that the coverage went that way, you know, talking about what was going on at the time with the Just Say No to Drugs with the Nancy Reagan thing and all that stuff. It's interesting that they went with that because obviously this is the you could put it on a neon sign. This is the Just Say No to Drugs episode. This one has all the subtlety of let that be your last battlefield.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it. I actually really like this episode. I've got to be honest with you.
Oh,
I do like it. I again, yes, it's about as subtle as to quote Blackadder, about as subtle as a rhinoceros horn up the backside. It's not.
It's as subtle as a train wreck, isn't it?
It's about as subtle as that old PSA that Shatner and Nimoy, and I think even Nichelle Nichols did in the 70s, where there was a radio ad called "This planet I'm on the surface of the destroyed barbarian planet, Captain. The inhabitants of this planet, their minds are useless and their limbs are dull. They suffer from something called hard drug abuse. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but it's true. It happened. And
Wow.
It's out there. You can probably find it on YouTube. I'm not kidding, folks.
Wow.
But that was a PSA. Well, this episode sort of is too. But I do like. I think it's very Trek that they find out what's going on. I mean, this is. Even if you're not subtle, this is how you moralize on Star Trek. You talk about how this one planet is exploiting the other, and when they find and Picard sticking pretty close to the 100% stickler for the Prime Directive in ordering Beverly to not tell the the Merritt Buttrick side of it. People.
The Onarans.
Odarans, thank you. That they did not, in fact, have a plague. That they were drug addicts. I love how she just blurts it out. They're drug addicts.
Yeah, and they didn't even start as drug addicts, but through the refinement process, the purification of the drug, they actually created the addiction in the people. So it might have just been something as mild as, being addicted to having coffee in the morning, and they turned it into like a hard drug addiction. So the Breckians, they're horrible people.
Well, they're pretty horrible. And the thing is, the PSA conversation between Wesley and Tasha, that is a little cringy and over the top. Obviously she's not lying to him. It's a good message. It's true and all that stuff, but it's a little like, wow, there's a hokiness. And I think there's maybe an over the topness in this episode that again reminds me of Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. Yeah. Which is, we talked about it when we reviewed it before, but, I don't know. I don't mind it. I especially like the moments toward the end when Picard basically tells them, "Nope, you can't have it. We're not helping you. We're not going to interfere, and that means not helping you with your ships or anything like that either." Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked it. I felt it to be. It felt like Trek. It was a preachy Trek, yes. So was a Private Little War. So was
yes.
Let That Be Your Love. The preachy Trek happens, folks. Just
it does. And sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's a stinker.
Yeah. And in this one, I thought this was a fairly tense and intriguing story. I kind of liked it. I don't know why. I mean, I know maybe some didn't, and you could definitely kind of laugh at it for getting involved in the Nancy Reagan thing, I guess. I mean, why are you doing this episode? But I don't know. I thought it was a pretty interesting episode.
Yeah. JT Kirk just walks through the door.
JT Kirk.
JT Kirk. It is so nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a little while. We've missed you around here.
Welcome.
Yeah, I don't mind this episode either. And Anti-Derivative Jill is asking about that PSA. Anti-Derivative Jill, I'll just ask one of our many wonderful wrenches, see if they could find that while we're talking about it. But
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't mind this episode either, Clobby.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it's it's tense. It's well acted. I think you can say what you want about the subtlety of the message, but it's a good message. It's not like it's a dumb message, or it's not even like it's super political. It's not really super political to say, hey, drugs are bad for you, because everyone knows it. Even people who unfortunately suffer from those things, even they know it. So to do a science fiction story like that, if you're going, just like when you do Let Them Be Your Last Battlefield, who could argue with the message of racism's terrible? Because it is, and who could argue with this? But no. So and you did it in a pretty good science fiction way, in my opinion. I liked the episode a lot. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's all right. Why don't I let you do that? Go and find that PSA.
Go with your notes there.
And I'll go with my notes. They're not long. They're quite short. But I just put on my notes here, Dr. David Marcus, Merritt Butrick. Of course, David, he's Kirk's son. Unfortunately, he was suffering from HIV, AIDS, and he caught toxoplasmosis. So he died on March 17th, 1989 at only 29 years old. So less than a year, within a year of him filming this. And it's quite sad. So, God rest his soul. I'm an agnostic, but, just so sad. And then, of course, we have Judson Scott, Joaquin or Joaquim. And I know that there are 10 other pronunciations for that name. So him, and so on and so forth. But I'm just going to keep with Joaquim. I hope you guys don't mind. But of course, that is Wrath of Khan. And I don't want to offend people who want me to pronounce it in German and Hebrew and so on and so forth. But yeah, just Joaquim. So Joaquim!
There's the link, by the way. Just letting you know the link. I put the link in there for the hard drug abuse PSA. Yeah. It's got, so go ahead.
And then, so I just put in italics, Just Say No, and Miami Vice inspired Maurice Hurley, which the cast reportedly objected to, at least according to Edward Gross, or Gross, however he wants to pronounce that, and Mark Altman in their 1993 book, Captain's Log, The Complete Trek Voyages. So according to those folks, the entire cast and crew were they were opposed to having that conversation between Tasha Yar and Wesley, or even touching on this subject. So I just put in my notes, so much for these hyper-ethical, hyper-political people who believe very strongly in using Star Trek for political instruction and hyper-didacticism. So they go on social media and they say all these things about how much they care about society. But according to Edward Gross's book and Mark Altman's book, 1993 book, the cast was against doing the Just Say No message. And so I thought that our viewers and our listeners would find that interesting. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. By the way, I put that link in the chat there, and it's just audio. So they put some, someone thought they were being funny who may have put this on there. They put The Way to Eden pictures on the audio of it. That's kind of funny.
That's good. That's so good.
Yeah, it's a Saturn Nemo. I think it might even be Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
If I'm on there, I can't remember now. But this is from the 1973 or something. Everyone, you get a kick out of it. But anyway,
yeah.
So go ahead.
So that's all I had in my notes. I just thought that everybody would find it interesting that, of course, Hurley has taken over and has basically banished Gene Roddenberry. And Gene Roddenberry, of course, is quite sick at this point, and he was sent away on vacation, and he came back, and there is a great dispute as to how much influence he was wielding at this point, especially due to his health. But apparently, Maurice Hurley was very much inspired by Miami Vice. He wanted to do a drug episode, and that's how we wound up with this "Just Say No" message. And once again, the cast objected to it. So this lovely cast that you see today on Twitter, telling you all with their wagging fingers about how much they care about you and how much they care about society, they didn't think that it was appropriate to have that messaging in Star Trek at the time, at least according to Gross and Altman, 1993 Captain's Log, The Complete Trek Voyages. So how do you like that for hypocrisy, folks?
Pretty bad. I mean, like I say, why would you? I mean, if you don't think it's a good story, it's one thing, but why wouldn't you? Why would you not want that message in there? I mean, it's a pretty. I mean, again, these people were. It's not just a. Yes, it is a message about drug abuse, but the message about exploitation is just as powerful. Yeah. In this one, if you're gonna. I mean, again, I thought it was. I don't know. I just thought it was fairly well written, fairly well done. Maybe that's just because. Yeah, Wesley's there for that little speech thing, but he's not saving the damn ship or any of that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and watching Crosby or Yar talking to Wesley about this is just, they're just two of my favoriteest peopleist of Everest. Of course, like I'm just groaning and just kind of run away from my television set. But other than that, I mean, we have Merritt Butrick here, and we have Judson Scott here, and they both give great performances, and of course, I love both of them. It's such a shame what happened with Butrick. So, but
it sure is, yeah. And so you got two Wrath of Connors there for you there. So again, I found it for to be at least a pretty interesting concept and stuff. Sure, they had their message. And then look, if you're going to have a message, there's the thing about messaging. I've seen things in my time whether it's a film or a TV show or whether I read a comic or a book that has a message that I don't even agree with and would go, that's still I still enjoy that. That's still good here. That even happens sometimes. Of course, obviously this is an easy one to agree with, but both of them that are in there, it's a two-pronged message episode. But if you're entertaining and interesting, you could even you could have a message. No one ever says you can't. It's just that that's different. A message, then there's an agenda. Two different things. So like I said, I'll get your rating. Yeah. I'll give mine, and then we'll ask our wonderful chat what they think.
Well, first of all, I would just like to back you up on what you just said. I totally and completely agree. I use the word didacticism, and perhaps there are people who are unfamiliar with that term, but that is this sort of hyper moralizing that is meant to be instruction. So, basically it's when a text gives you an ultimatum, either you do exactly as we say, herein, or you're deplorable. We're going to unperson you, and that's usually what didacticism does. And you are correct, Captain. There is room for messaging, but Star Trek messaging is always about leaving it up to the viewer. It's about compelling the viewer to examine the evidence and then form their own opinion thereafter. And that's what makes Star Trek, good Star Trek, so wonderful. So I just had to back you up on that, Captain.
Thank you.
Well said. And my mark on this one, sir, is going to be a B-.
There you go. And if you've been paying attention this year, folks, when you're anywhere in the B's, you're not doing too bad for this first season.
It's true.
There you go. I'm a B on this one. I think the last 10 minutes are what really does this episode for me when Picard, because he's been bumbling around all season. There are times when he's written well, times when he's not. But at this one, he doesn't use the Prime Directive. That's the wrong way to look at it. He just said that he plays his cards pretty well. I mean, he won't break it. And in this case, not breaking it is definitely the right call. put it to you like that. I mean, it's not always the right call, as Kirk demonstrated a few times, but it is the right call here. However, other captains might have kind of just not done that. But anyway, our friends out there in the chat, please now give your rating and your comments on Symbiosis. And we got one all right. We got an early one. Phantom Outsider jumps the gate, so he has to go to the back of the line. Just kidding, Phantom. Just kidding, buddy. Let's see, we go. So, Phantom Outsider, B. Although it's more parasitic than symbiotic relationship, Tasha talking to Wesley with all the emotional heft that she generated. Talking about roaming drape gangs in her home world. Why couldn't I just got another one.
Phantom Outsider, I wish I could tip you on this. I wish I could buy you a cup of tea or a beer or whatever your pleasures are. What a great comment. Oh, it's so well wrought.
Well, I'll get to the second when I get it, though. I don't have it yet. But yes, it was.
Tearing up here. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good comment. Just brutal.
Indeed. Zathra says, A, seeing Judge and Scott and Mayor Buttrick, should I say Buttrick? I mean, I just say Buttrick, but I don't mean anything by it. It's two T's. I don't know. In Star Trek was great. One more time, again, rest his soul. It was such a shame it happened to him. He was actually, of course, he stayed with Marcus, so we'll always love him for that. But he was he was on that show, Square Pegs. Anyone remember that? Well, in Star Trek was great one more time. Plus, the ending was great. Zathras has spoken. Thank you, Zathras.
Zathras, I probably would have given it a higher rating if we wouldn't have had that exchange between my two favoriteest people that are just the bestest ever.
I'm surprised they didn't clip that and put it out as a PSA, like on TV and stuff. But that back then, maybe they did. We didn't see it. R.N. Feliciano, one of two. C. Picard, once again, is a prime directive apologist. Yawn. Is he? Apologist? Well, I mean, I think he used it to his benefit in this one, man. Good to see some actors from the movies. Mm-hmm. Shades of the Last Battlefield. Oh,
yes.
And the last Wesley episode of the season. Yay!
Yay!
Is it really? I didn't even realize that. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Are you sure he's not in the next? Whatever. That's cool. I don't want to argue with you. I can't remember.
Is he in Skin of Evil? I would have
to
think about it.
He is in Skin of Evil.
He's in Skin of Evil.
Unless he's talking if you're production order.
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. That's why I always get tripped up whenever I'm doing one of these podcasts, because of course that when I'm doing research, I like to watch in a production order. When I'm just doing it regular, I like to watch a broadcast order. So when people say stuff like that to me, it's not quite as easy for me to answer as it is for other people.
But whichever one was produced first, this one story-wise has to come first because Tosh is in it. So.
Yeah.
Pat S. A-. I really dig the little wave that Tasha Yar gives as Picard and Doc Crusher walk out of the cargo bay. The story is that was her last scene until yesterday's Enterprise film Trek trivia. Huh? She was in Skin of Evil, dude.
Yeah, she was in Skin of Evil. I know that there are some folks that
maybe she filmed it last.
Yes, we'll talk about that when we get to Skin of Evil.
Gotcha. Okay. Mr. Angel, rate B+. I didn't mind the preaching. Overall, this was a very good episode. I even liked Wesley, and I even liked Leslie in this one. I will confine myself to the box of shame. The agony booth for you, sir. Love the prime directive dilemma. What
a great like comment, Mr. Angel. Love it.
Indeed, Mr. Angel.
Just fabulous comments.
Dora Poopa Scuba C+. Despite the thinly veiled social allegory about drugs and the trope about the only cure for a plague, Felicium, really, it has some good performances, so I forgive it. Thank you for your forgiveness. We appreciate you.
What if the cure was Feliciano, not Felicium?
Oh, that would be a good cure.
That
could cure anything. C for Stephen Thompson. Thank you. Just say no to Poopy Diaper TNG episodes. Watching Hurley on the documentary made by Shatner makes me think he might be a little space sick. Project Storytime, buddy. 10 out of 10 for season 1, 7 out of 10 for TNG on as a whole.
Okay.
I see where you're coming from, sir. Let's see here. I do see where you're coming from. No, Raymond's second one. The premise of one society using another is not new, but the fact that they were cured makes it even more appalling. This could be a cautionary tale in today's times. That is absolutely for sure, bud, for sure. Phantom Outsider. His second one. Wesley. I've done some experimentation and found out the drug is lethal to Terrans. Rip Wesley, R.I.P. Wesley, I think he means. Then this would have been the bestest ever episode. I'm with you. If they used the drugs on Wesley and he died, I would have been my favorite episode of all time.
Phantom Outsider, you are on fire tonight.
Wolfie, 6 out of 10. The Pusher versus the Addicts, with a bonus T-Walk reunion.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay. We get some Prime Directive stuff here. McGruff, the space crime dog. Just say no to Suxley.
What an excellent comment. Ow!
Yes,
Love
Suxley
it.
indeed.
So good.
Captain is Deckard, a replicant. Spock.
Dun, 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 dun.
6. Let's see. 6 of 9 out of A+. And we got some. We got some drinks there. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see here. We got this. Oh, I'm trying to find the next one. Oh, we've got Jill. Would you like to take this one?
Sure. Let's do it.
Go for it. That way.
1 of 5. Her whole grade is B-. And Jill says, if Breckians only produce the drug, how do the Onarans feed, shelter, and make those shiny clothes for them if they're always inept and high? Ergo, they should have the ability to fix their ship.
That is a good point.
2 of 5. Therefore, the dual society seems hollow, but maybe it an inspiration for the Jem'Hadar, which makes more sense in a controlled military imprisonment. This one is just an after-school special.
I love it.
3 of 4. I did enjoy the sun's effect on the societies and the exploratory curiosity of the Enterprise at the start, and how the episode ends on that note when Geordi chooses a path not chosen before. 4 out of 4. I had a diatribe about the Prime Directive decision, but it takes too many words, and I'm sure y'all will mention it. So I'm cutting myself short for the sake of getting through season 1 tonight. Great comments. I love you, Jill.
I thought you had 5, Jill. Said, okay, you must have put by accident.
Oh, no, that's what she's saying. She had a diatribe.
1 of 5, 2 of 5, then she went to 3 or 4. I got you.
But then she excused herself with the introductory phrase of, I had a diatribe and I had to cut it loose.
Oh, I see. Thank you, Jill. Crazy Pineapple, C-. Just title the episode, Just Say No and Let It Go. The Prime Directive. The Prime Directive could be probably allowed some drug counselors go to the addict planet. Hail and good evening, everyone.
I would like to address that, Crazy Pineapple, because that is an excellent comment. It's one of the reasons why I gave it a B-. You see, I'm not a nurse and I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm a doctoral prospect, but not that kind of doctor. But I do know this, that I have read in many places that when people are addicted to certain substances, they can, if they go through withdrawal all on their own, it can cause cardiac arrest or even death. And we have someone here tonight who has a master's in nursing, and she may speak to that issue as she is an expert. But it is quite disturbing when you look at it from that lens, Crazy Pineapple, and it's certainly an idea I revisit every time I watch this episode. I think about, I've never had any problems with addiction, but when I think about people who do have addiction, I feel gutted for them. I feel so terrible. And to imagine an entire planet going through withdrawal with the possibility of having, convulsions, stroke, cardiac arrest, any of those things. Yeah. To make them go through withdrawal alone seems very cold. So, but once again, I'm not a doctor. I've never studied medicine, but for the casual viewer, it does seem a little stone cold, doesn't it? Crazy Pineapple. And great comment. Did I lose you? Hello?
Sorry, muted by accident there.
It's okay. It's okay.
Indeed, the aforementioned, that you alluded to anyway, Sandra Feliciano. B, I like him bringing the drug dealers down a few pegs by using the Prime Directive against them. The powerful prolonging a disease for their own purposes is also deplorable and timely. Indeed.
Yep.
The great Marco D with a C. B plus. 4 out of 5 bottles of Romulan ale. Good message. Great explanation of the Prime Directive. The characters are finally hitting their stride. That's what, 2?
Well, maybe not their stride, but out of the weeds, Mark D with a C.
That's at least that. At least
Yes.
that. Other than the clunky bridge PSA, I liked how Picard was able to solve the problem by doing nothing. Quotations, yes. Let's see what we got here. See if we got any more.
Phoenix Argus just came in, but as we'll see if he adds another one. But Sandra Feliciano, sorry, at 55 minutes past the hour says, well, it just jumped. Let me just go and see this because this is somebody who is a medical professional. She says, depending on the drugs, sudden withdrawal can kill. Others can be very difficult to get off, but it is possible. It's just very unpleasant. Yeah, it doesn't seem very compassionate, does it, Sandra? It's very, very sad, and I love that Crazy Pineapple brought that up.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got all of our ratings.
Yep. No, Phoenix
sure.
Argus, Crazy Pineapple says, Raquel, you can't leave a recovering addict alone. Yeah, let alone a planet of recovering addicts. And then, of course, we have Phoenix Argus has just jumped in at 56 minutes past the hour. He says C+. It was okay, but it could do without. Oh, just jumped. It could do without the hyper moralization. So thank you for that comment, Phoenix Argus. And then I think we got it all now, boss.
Okay. Greetings, 1903 TX, by the way.
Hey, hello.
Greetings. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Just making sure.
That's okay.
So
I actually can't even see that person. But guess who I just saw who just walked through the door? Katie Carr. Hello, beautiful ballerina.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello, gorgeous.
Katie Carr. Katie, I hope you were doing well, lovely lady.
She's in Vegas. Great.
You are in Vegas. What are you doing there? You didn't tell us you were going there, dang it, young lady.
Yes, and we need some selfies with you and Steve Mitchum. And Katie, you guys got to go up for coffee.
I know
selfies.
I know she's not there for the Star Trek convention. That cannot be it, right?
Oh, of course she is. She says, and she'll be at every Voyager event.
Oh, Katie, I'm so happy you're there. I wish we could have been there to see you and say hello. But I hope you were having a wonderful time, dear.
Oh, and look, 1903 TX just showed up on my side of the StreamYards. Good evening, 1903 TX. Sorry I missed you earlier. You weren't showing up on my side. Hello.
Indeed. Met Bill Shatner and something. Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart of a man. Yeah, he's very kind to me as well, Katie. He was very kind to me. I like him a lot.
He wasn't very nice to me, but I can see him being nice to you too somehow. I'm kidding. In fact, I'll tell you what he said to me, everyone. William Shatner said to me when I shook his hand, he said, well, that's what he said. He said that. And I've never, that was 1986, and I've never forgotten it.
Aww.
He was busy. He was World of Wheels. He was, you had to pay $5 to get into that event, and he was forced to shake hands with geeks like me. So, but anyway, it was fun. It was no complaining. I just wish I still had the damn picture I had taken with him. My friend of mine Claude still has his, but I can't find mine anywhere. Anyway, well, I guess we're ready for the next episode. What do you think?
We are, and we have happened upon the great parting of the great complainer. Skin of Evil, Season 1, Episode 23. This streams as 22. First broadcast on April 25th, 1988. This is prod code 122, so it is out of order. And this is us saying goodbye to Denise Crosby. If you are following along, let's stay copyright compliant. We are reading excerpts, not the whole book, but certainly excerpts from Star Trek 365, The Next Generation by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman. This book was blessed by Ronald D. Moore. It has great production and verified facts in it. And so we're going to read from it. And we are currently, so if you're following along, you're going to have to go backwards. You can't go forwards. You have to go backwards because it's out of production order. We are on tile 59. Counselor Troy's shuttle crash lands on Vegra 2, home of Armus, a malevolent alien life form created from the cast-off negative emotions of the planet's former inhabitants. As an away team from the Enterprise mounts a valiant effort to rescue Troy, Armus, who derives pleasure from the suffering of others, tortures and taunts the counselor's closest friends, and kills one of them simply because it can. Filmed prior to Symbiosis, oh good, okay, so they're going to deal with it here, but broadcast a week after that episode, Skin of Evil confirmed a widespread rumor the fans had been hearing but hadn't wanted to believe. Wow, Paula. Really, Paula. Denise Crosby was leaving Star Trek, The Next Generation. In fact, by the halfway point in the episode, the character of Tasha Yar was dead. The decision was Crosby's. Although she enjoyed working on the show and loved her co-workers, that's not true at all. She felt she was spending too much time standing around on the bridge, reciting uninteresting technical lines. She wanted more to do on the show, and producers made it clear they couldn't guarantee that. The series, they explained, was about Picard, Riker, and Data. The other characters, the rest of the regular crew, and the aliens of the week, the special guest stars, were there to fill in the gaps. And that, Crosby professed, was not acceptable to her. The producers granted her request to be released from the series, and they parted on friendly terms. She went on to make guest appearances in numerous television series and won a major role in the motion picture Pet Sematary. Wouldn't exactly call that a major motion picture, but the beefy parts she'd been looking for didn't seem to be out there. That's a little closer to the truth.
Yes.
Ironically, 2 years after she abandoned the Starship Enterprise, she was back as Tasha Yar in the third season's Yesterday's Enterprise. Her appearance was just a one-shot, but it had a standout role. But it was a standout role in an episode that resonated with the fans, and which later led to a series of stints on the show as Tasha Yar's daughter.
Yep.
Oh, we have another tile, folks. So much has happened with optical effects over the years that we probably could come up with more effective visuals today, Michael Westmore says. But that back then, when we filmed Skin of Evil, everyone was thrilled with the way we did it. Well, maybe not everyone. There was this black slime in a pit, Jonathan Fakes recalls. I said to the prop master, "What is this stuff?" He said, "It's Metamucil and black printer's ink. It'll be fine. Go ahead, get in it." Fakes, figuring this was what an actor does, agreed. And so, he says, I immersed myself over my head with black Metamucil. Well, Metamucil was an easy way to shorthand the identity of the substance for the actor. It wasn't entirely accurate. The goo that Armus called was home was a mix of water-soluble printer's ink, and methyl cellulose, a chemical compound derived from plant tissue. It's a key component of the whole variety of consumer products, such as toothpaste, shampoo, artificial tears, personal lubricants like KY jelly, and constipation relievers like Metamucil. When dissolved in cold water, it forms a clear, viscous solution, hence the need to color it with the ink. It's non-toxic, but considering the effects of Metamucil, one hopes that Fakes and stunt actor Mart McChesney, the guy in the Armus suit, didn't swallow much of it. Fakes actually had it easy compared to McChesney, who spent 4 days immersed in the stuff. We designed a head for him to wear, Westmore explains. And it had 3 holes, so if he had to, we could stick our fingers inside the mask and clean the gunk out of his mouth in a hurry. While he was under, we had to time the scene with a stopwatch. Yes. In retrospect, it would have been a good idea to build a small oxygen tank around the head. You think? Wearing a suit provided by the wardrobe department, McChesney was fine. The suit, on the other hand, the goo was supposed to be inert, Westmore comments. But for some reason, we've never been able to explain. It started to fall apart at the seams. We made a quick call to the manufacturer to make a few more, and every one of them fell apart. And that oily black goo was tremendously messy, he added. We hooked up a hose outside the stage door to rinse off. Everyone was filthy with the stuff. There was an elevator built into the pit, and it forced me up through the slime and then vomited me onto the beach, Fakes relates, flashing his characteristic grin. And one of my favorite moments in Star Trek took place just after I was vomited up on the beach, covered with black slime. LeVar Burton comes over, leans over, and says, "Oh, Fakes, I could have never have done that." And that is the end of the coverage on Skin of Evil. Clobby, what did you think of the coverage, and what did you think of the episode?
Well, I didn't know any of that stuff about the stupid black sludge.
I did.
I had not known that before, so that was interesting. The episode, though, well, it was. Anytime you have to concoct, I mean, your job is to concoct the story to give an exit to a character. It's really, and that's not entirely everyone's fault. When that's your objective, it's tough to come up with some good, credible way to do it. I thought this episode was silly. I think this episode has a lot of dumb crap in it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been particularly satisfied with Armis's explanation of what he was. It was interesting, but they didn't really elaborate on it, which again, you don't have time for that. Your whole big deal is to kill Tasha. I thought he was also his character, meaning somewhat similar to the god being in Star Trek V in a sense.
Yes.
The exiled, powerful being that is been cast off and lonely and all that other kind of crap. I think it would be boring if it didn't have one of the most unnecessary and ludicrous things I've ever seen in the Next Generation, and that's saying something. And that is the big ending thing on the holodeck for Tasha. Now, I'm not just because it sounds almost a rip of what Kirk making his final orders in Tholian Web is one thing. That's good. Using and maybe like if the captain dies, there's some kind of making some holographic message but no, how convenient that she made a holographic message for the crew to say goodbye to them in the event that I die next week. Oop, but I'm not going to. Okay, the whole thing's like, really? Does every crew member have that? Does everyone make that stupid message that she makes and gives this speech about how great everybody is?
Who's going to be at their funeral?
Right. She knows everyone who's going to be at. Oh, that's a good one too. She knows everyone who's going to be there. There's like 1,000 people on the ship, folks, but we all know who's going to be there. And when did she make this thing?
Yeah.
It's goofy.
Yeah.
It's a dull. I think it's mostly a dull episode. There are episodes that are way worse than this, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong. Episodes that aggravate me more. This one is just kind of okay. It was just so you could give Tasha a boot out the door, and you're going to waste our time doing it because you don't have really a story to tell.
Yeah.
And so, I just think it's just a dull one for me personally.
Yeah, I would agree. I also take exception to Paula's comments in the book because, of course, they're patently false. She makes a claim here that Denise Crosby loved the show and loved filming it, loved the crew and cast and crew and so on and so forth. But we know that that's patently false. Her exact quote when asked, and this is published at StarTrek.com, published online on StarTrek.com, is the following quote, and I am quoting her verbatim, folks. For me, I was miserable. I couldn't wait to get off that show. I was dying. Okay, this is on StarTrek.com, marked March 13th, 2012. She further says, I didn't want to spend the next 6 years going, aye, aye, Captain, and standing there in the same uniform, in the same position on the bridge. So all this crap that she's saying that she absolutely loved the show and that it was just that she thought it was unfair that the show was about Jonathan Frakes and Riker, and Data and Pihard. That's not true. It's that she really hated the show and compared it to dying.
I wonder why Paula did that. I mean, look, Denise, it's a gig, it's a paying job, and you got to do things on that. I mean, you got to do a lot more in that first season than Uhura ever got to do on the old show. As far as action, I'm talking about, she was involved in a lot more stories than arguably than Nichelle Nichols was on her show. And of course, she wanted to leave too. She had better reason to want to leave. You could kind of understand where Nichelle was coming from a little bit, but she stayed because she was smarter than you, Denise, for one thing. And who knows what you had a paying job on a Hollywood TV show, you spoiled. Right, I don't know. And then
it's also important to know too, like that Nichelle Nichols was intelligent enough. Like she had a conversation with Martin Luther King Jr. about it, and that's when when she started to consider the fact that what she was doing on stage was not exactly what was happening in the public when the public was watching her. So her role seemed small, but it had such a massive impact once all was said and done and broadcast. She was having a massive impact on culture and society and on women everywhere. Of course, I'm a communications and technology scholar, and that's not a coincidence. I grew up watching Uhura, and she was in charge of the communications and technology department. Mm-hmm. She had a massive impact.
She did, and you know what? If you'd stuck with the show, Denise, you would have gotten to do more. You already got to do way more than a lot of characters did. I mean, look at the original series. It was mainly 3 characters most of the time getting to do everything. In this one, everyone was getting to do things, right or wrong, good show, good or bad. Everyone was getting to do things. There was a lot more. It was a bigger cast. They were spreading the pie thinner. But what are you whining about? You would have got to that. She's just and I think she obviously. What am I saying? Why am I preaching to her? She realized it later. You could tell.
Oh yeah, she did, because I mean she's an extra on the CW network now. Like now she doesn't even get speaking lines. Like
right.
She tanked her career and just over the horizon if she just would have waited it out. But she makes it seem like it was the women against the men and all of these things that she's made up. But she was clearly she was very clear in saying that she was miserable. She couldn't wait to get off the show, and she was dying. She hated the show and wanted off of it. She didn't like the uniform. She didn't want to be in this military environment thing. She hated it. So to me, it's just ego. If you read the whole interview dated March 13th, 2012 on StarTrek.com, you can clearly see that it's just all her ego. She thought she was bigger than the show, and so she left, and then she found out she was really nothing at all.
Yeah, boo-hoo, Denise. Go for your notes.
Yeah. And 12 minutes past the hour, Snail Messiah says, Dear Raquel, or Dear Raquel, why do you call him Fakes? I'm sure whatever reason it will make me giggle. The reason why I call him Jonathan Fakes is because I met him at a VIP, and he had made some comments that I didn't appreciate. And he was also like an actual VIP too. It's not like I stood in line for 3 hours to meet him for 2 seconds. I was actually like at a dinner and cocktail thing. Anyways, and he was later interviewed where he came right out and said that if Gene Roddenberry did not die, there is no way that he would have approved of or appreciated what they did with his story, with his IP. He would have been like horrified, heartbroken, ashamed, and extremely upset. Of course, and this is all leading up to the extreme amounts of violence. And all of the things that they've done with the filth. So I call him Jonathan Fakes because, you know, I call him as I see him, Snail Messiah. And he's not a Frakes, he's a Fakes.
The Catman, Didi Myers. What's up, sir?
Hey, Catman. So nice to see you.
Fakes indeed. Fakes indeed.
Yeah, and my notes, boss man, I just have Gene was on set and wanted Tasha killed in a way that aligned with how a security officer or a police officer would be killed in an abrupt and senseless way. Sort of like one of the red shirts. She wanted to be a red shirt, so she was going to become a red shirt. It looks and feels very TOS, a low-tech alien that isn't slick. And then I put har, because of course I said he was a low-tech alien that wasn't slick. Lynch is annoying and is not Scotty. I wish they would just hurry up and make a decision about engineering.
Oh, yeah.
The promise-like exchange borrows too much from Kirk and Scotty. It feels gross, and the bad acting doesn't help. So that moment where Lynch is, you know, trying to behave like Scotty and Picard is trying to behave like Kirk when they're negotiating when they're going to have warp drive. I just thought, you know, why are you doing that? Stop that. And I put in my notes, the submersions were timed. The stuntman actually risked a suffocation with every take. He has been interviewed in the past and spoke at length about how dangerous it was and how scary it was for him. Tasha's face slick is just too cartoonish, too naively drawn on her face. Hysterical. This is so bad. Armis, just so you know, Armis's voice is actually Ron Gans, who is the voice of Eeyore. So if you never bought Armis's voice, it's because he's Eeyore. Ron Gans. Annoying that the holodeck green screen at the funeral forced the production to create or to colorize the green uniform for Beverly. This is a dumbness that is beyond annoying. I wrote that in my notes. And then underneath, I have a little a side note that says, Tasha's death speech is hysterical. She knew exactly how she died. Barf. She was addressing the funeral attendees directly. Barf. How would she know who was at her funeral? Barf. When did she film this funeral address?
She read the script.
Yeah, it's just so bad.
Welcome, Blue Punter. I've not seen you here before. Well, good to see you.
Hello. I can't see you on my side of StreamYards because it looks like StreamYards is acting up this evening. But welcome, and it's nice to meet you.
Hey there, Max Redstone. I think you're still in Vegas there, are you, buddy?
Hello.
Well, goodness. I hope you're having a fantastic time out there if you're still out there, sir.
Yeah.
And welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by.
Indeed, indeed. Everyone, again, big shout out to all of our friends out there in Vegas. So I guess I will ask for your rating of this, and then I'll give you mine. Then I will ask our wonderful chat there. So, number one, what is your rating of Skin of Evil?
Before we get to that, Mark D with a C, you're actually addressing a false blooper. So the phaser never, ever dropped into the goo. That was actually a camera angle, and it never, ever dropped into the goo. So when people address that as a blooper, it's or like a goof, it's not a goof. That it was just the camera angle. It just dropped right at the point where the slick began. Just so you know. So that is a factoid from fandom. That's fan lore. and it's a factoid, but I love you.
Gotcha.
On my paper, after going through my little diatribe where I just kept writing barf after every sentence, I put A+ and I circled it, and then I was like, just kidding, D.
I too give it a D. It's dumb. It's boring. That scene is absolute. That goodbye scene at the end is absolutely ludicrous. But now, wonderful chat. Please give your rating, and if you have a comment for Skin of Evil, go.
Dun, 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 dun. Do it. Do you give it an
Do
A+? Because Denise Crosby no longer has to be dying. She doesn't have to hate her job anymore. That poor lady being paid to pretend for a living, being an international sex symbol. Oh, that just must have sucked. Hey, you were dying.
Hey, Parrot Head.
Hey, Parrot Head. Nice to see you.
All right, good to see you. Hope you're not wasting away in Margaritaville. Or if you are, that's a good place to waste away, though.
It is.
So, Parrot Head, good to see you, sir. Always. Let's see here. So, Sakura 61 says F. Whoa, even worse than us. F episodes suck. A for Ding Dong, the witch is dead. Oh, well, okay, there you go. He didn't like her, I guess. Witch, old witch, the wicked witch, Ding Dong, Falchiar's dead. The wicked witch. Remember, all Denise played the pivotal role as the mother on Deep Impact. Did she? I did not. I don't think I ever saw that. I did not know that. I've never seen that, sir.
Keely Chow, welcome.
Oh, Keely Chow, roll tide, go Tuggers. Good to see you, Keely Chow. Let's see here.
Hey, Nirad Anaxamanda Bear is here.
Oh, we got some. Cool. All
Welcome.
right, Nirad, good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see here. Feliciano Ezen Raymond says D. 1 of 5 tar babies.
Oh.
I am glad that this is probably the last of the season's atrocities. Poor Denise Crosby. She could have made a decent character, but in the end, just another red shirt. Yes.
Yep.
Let's see. I'll get to your next one when I can find it there, Raymond. Mr. Angel, big fat Z-. Wow, we really love this one.
The
Don't you?
chef is not putting up with Denise Crosby. No soup for her.
Indeed. For an all-powerful evil alien, he was a bit of a slime ball. This episode was so cringe to me that it nearly caused me to stop watching. The banality of evil was very present. Yes, indeed, aka boring. I'm with you there.
Slime ball. Very clever.
Stephen Thompson. Two clear memories from watching this in the 80s. 1, the effects stink. 2, I didn't know Crosby's feelings on the show. I thought, cool, a main character dies. Anything can happen. Unpredictable is good. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think many people shared that feeling, Stephen, back in the day. People thought, wow, well, this raises the stakes. But indeed, she was, and I quote, dying.
Yep, and she knew it, apparently. Wolfie, 1 of 2, 7 out of 10. What?
That was so good. That was so good. I love you.
That. I love you, too. Let's see here. Pretty scary stuff for a kid. Okay, well, for a kid, yes, the oil slick was scary, I guess, for some people back then. I can see that, I guess.
Yes.
I was not a kid. I think you mean definitely remember watching this episode as it aired. I love the nonchalant photon experimentation of Armus in the background at the end of the episode. Pew. I warned you, didn't I? I warned you, didn't I? All that not following the Roddenberry Bible has produced a sentient, lubricated, runny diaper poop that has now killed one of the crew. And chewed another. And he doesn't even have good taste. I mean, if I'm gonna be an oil slick, I'm not going after Riker. I mean, look at. Never mind. I was gonna get toxic there for a minute. But I won't.
So good. And can you believe Clobby has invented a character, Evil Eeyore?
Evil Eeyore. Well, I tell you what, Picard. If you leave the chicks here, I'll let you take them. Come on, man. I've been here for billions of years by myself. You can have the stupid Riker. I grabbed the wrong one. I don't want him.
Oh God, I'm just crying. I'm serious. I'm crying.
I'm just saying, Armis has bad taste. It's a
Good stuff, Clobby. So good.
Oh, let's see. Hey, Denise. Just because Bing was your grandpappy, does not make you special. Fair enough.
True.
Yes, she's
I
no
agree.
she's no Bing.
Yeah, I agree, Raymond. I think that ego had a lot to do with it there, and she cheated herself out of becoming somebody who was a major star.
Indeed. His whole Bang Cross. I'm not going to try it. Snortopoopa's C for Snortopoopa's Tasha Yar falls into the La Brea tar pit, and actually she didn't fall into it. I mean, and that's the thing. If she's leaving, she's going to die. Instead of making dumbass die, who's going to be on the show, make her suffer. Like throw her in the damn pit.
Yeah.
Anyway, and let's see here. Or better yet, make her have to stay on the planet instead of killing her. She has to stay with Armis. That's the whole damn plan. Yeah. Anyway, just some altering.
Her and Wesley. Just leave Wesley and Tasha on the planet.
Well, let's not get. Why would we do that to Armis? She suffered enough. Come on. La Brea, the first time a series regular died and stayed dead, maybe. Well, yeah, maybe. She does get to give a holographic farewell, and tears are duly jerked. Something was jerked, all right. I thought
but
that
it wasn't tears.
Yes.
Chloe, you are on fire tonight. You're very cheeky. I love you like this.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be
No, I love it. This is great. I've actually been laughing so hard that I've been crying for the last 10 minutes. Love it.
I'm not going to judge Denise Crosby for quitting the show. I can't imagine what it is like to grow up with a legend as a grandfather and having all these expectations from the entire world. Well, she did have to grow up one in that shadow, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, that is one way of putting it, isn't it? And you are a very empathetic and kind man, Steve Mitchum. I love you.
I definitely hear you on FM there, buddy. Okay, there we go. Oh, this thing jumped on me. Sorry, folks. The Catman, a.k.a. D.D. Meyer, says, F truly had the episode extremely boring. I think it made truly. Well, yes, it was. I'm with you there. Mm-hmm. Sandra Feliciano, C-. It seemed a cheap way to get rid of a problematic actress. You want off the show? Fine. We'll get rid of you permanently in as humiliating a way as possible. So what if the story sucks? Why couldn't they just said, look, she just don't show up, and we'll just say you got transferred. Sorry, Tasha. Look what they did to Dr. Crusher, for a while when Gates left. They just said she went to do something. Yeah. She's alive. That way you leave an out if, she wants to come back and they want to have her pop back in. Just kill my character is a dumbass thing. Again, it wasn't her final decision, obviously. I guess. Yeah. I mean, she can't make that call. But
Wolfie sent us a super chat.
Oh, I'll be right there, Wolfie.
We'll get right to you, Wolfie.
Be right there. Thank you, Wolfie. Crazy Pineapple, C-. Armis was truly evil. Not for killing Yar, but letting Wesley live.
I love you, Crazy Pineapple.
It was like something you find in a poopy diaper. Not very intimidating, but some people might think so. Yeah, he wasn't all that. I mean, I didn't think he was that intimidating. I mean,
no. The thing is, it's Eeyore's voice, so it's so hard.
Voice. Well, and as Mark C pointed out, I never thought of it. I mean, Mark D with a C pointed out, he looks like Venom, sort of. So yeah.
I never thought of that before. Mark D with a C. Great comment, hon.
He does kind of remind me of Venom. We've got Jill, if you're ready.
Oh, look, Jill, my other nerd, my other half of my nerdiness out in chat world. She's done 1 of 4, and her final answer on this one is an F. That's her grade. She says, they skip safety precautions to get warp back. I wouldn't have, because if something went wrong with the matter reaction, well, boom. Guess because Picard ordered it.
I love it when Jill's meaner to the episode than us. Doesn't happen.
Yeah, and it's not that's
love you,
not
Jill.
common for her. Like you know what I mean? She's also one of those people who tries to give the highest grade possible,
Yes.
like I do. So
She
yeah, I just
does.
love it.
We
I
love it, but she's
yeah. But it's good. It's just good to have Jill around because she's also a nerd, and it's
Indeed.
great to have another nerd around with all you geeks. Okay, so 2 of 4. Armis kills Yar because he doesn't care about other life forms. But I guess since phaser fire is just a yummy treat to him, he doesn't try to kill Riker or Data. Weird.
Yeah.
3 of 4. Troy figures out that Armis kills because he's angry and lonely and wants everyone to suffer too. I feel like I know who this Armis is. It's Kurtzman. You're all ungrateful. A bully. 4 of 4. So Armis was created when some beings figured out how to expel all of their evilness and just dumped it on the planet. Very fantasy episode, but Data's funeral comment was nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that, Jill. Great comments.
Terrell, it did have a Buck Rogers vibe, and I think that guy who did Armis's voice did a voice on Buck Rogers, a few actually. Parrothead, I think she did. I think she was in Playboy, but I can't remember for sure because I would.
I remember all the guys. Like I was in high school at the time. I was just getting ready to leave high school actually at this time, and I remember the guys just absolutely loved her. Why she left this show? She's out of her mind.
Yeah. I mean, as a guy, I never thought she was. I mean, she was like the 4th hottest chick on the show. There are only 3 ladies on the show, but
some guys were really into her. I wouldn't go cheap. She did get an offer from Playboy because I remember.
I think she did.
Yeah, I was about to leave high school at this time. I was and the guys they were going wild for her. At least some guys were.
Well, I thought she was a lovely woman. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, nothing. Yeah. So she's all right, but maybe not my type.
That's okay. She's not Andrew's type either. Whenever I tell Andrew that she started out as a sex symbol, he's like, "What?"
Give me Beverly anyway, and even that horrible Troy.
Yeah.
Let's see. JT Cook still on the road. Oh, be careful out there, sir. C-. A lower rating would not hold my interest. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Good
to hear from you, JT Kirk.
Good to hear from you, JT Kirk. I hope you're taking care of yourself out there. Hello, Dave G. Sound. It is good to see you.
Hey.
Thank you for being here.
Nice to meet you. And let's get to Wolfie. Ow.
Okay. I'll get there. I was trying to get to the other comments. I promise you I'll get there, though, Wolfie.
I'm just scared because last time it disappeared, remember? And then we had, who was it? It was Eric's, I think, that disappeared, and then we couldn't do it, and now it's only showing if you scroll up. Isn't that weird?
But I have no idea where it is exactly. Well, okay,
it's at 27 minutes past the hour.
I'll have to backtrack it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Wolfie.
Yay.
With a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Wolfie. I really appreciate you. Evil IR. Well, I should probably. Well, Eeyore. Sorry. Eeyore? IR. Oh, yeah, Eeyore. Well, I should probably kill again. You can go to the shuttle now. Oh, wait. I've changed my mind. You guys can go ahead. I'll keep Troy company. Don't worry. We'll have a good old time. She likes oil. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think that's exactly what Wolfie wanted. Ow! Love you, Wolfie. Thank you so much for supporting Klobby's show
Wolfie.
and his channel.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let me backtrack, make sure I got to the... Okay, I think if I miss anyone, just let me know. Found Outsider says, see, Riker is lucky he didn't have the... It's lucky he didn't have the beard. Oh, yeah, that's true. Huh? What's with these advanced races leaving their skin wrappers laying around for others to pick up after? True evil would have been condemning. That's a good point there. These were such wonderful beings. They just left the thing there. Said, if anybody runs across it with lesser abilities, they're screwed. But whatever, who cares? We're fine now.
Quite the purge, wouldn't it? And I like how he describes it almost like it's like a fruit roll up. Phantom Outsider calls it a skin wrapper, just laying around for others to pick up like litter. Phantom Outsider, you are on fire tonight. Great comments, just loving them. Indeed.
Well done, sir. Let me find out. I'm trying to get back where. Okay, I just want to get back where I was. And he also says the alien to Wesley sitting duty. The alien to Wesley sitting duty looks like security personnel do daily updates on their goodbye holograms. I must have died quickly. Otherwise, I'd have updated this to tell you what I really thought.
Yeah, no message to her mom, her grandparents, no,
Her
no,
sister,
like
at least. She had a sister.
to her sister, like, you know. But yeah, okay, like I understand what happened with her parents and all that kind of stuff, but still, like, no mention of your parents or anyone from your family. Just like, and to you, Riker, thank you, Riker, and to you, Deanna, thank you. It's just so.
What if a crewman were, if they all have to do that, and then a crewman who dies doesn't like us, Captain? Well, now that I'm dead, Captain Picard, I think you're a total stick in the mud shithead. You really suck, you big bald wussy. I hate the way you run this ship and the way you sacrifice everything. You got my ass killed, and you surrender every goddamn 5 minutes. You call a conference in the middle of the bridge. You're the shittiest captain ever. I wish Kirk was the captain of this ship. Good God. But I'm a hologram. You can't do shit to me because I'm dead, because you got me killed, Captain. So screw you. Sorry.
Computer and program, right? Picard would be, imagine Picard's face. Aw, pee hard. Did you get your little fifis hurt? Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Pat S, C-. Sorry about that, everyone. I don't know why that happened.
I love it.
Dennis was a baby. She was a baby. This show was so much more of an ensemble show. TOS can't decide. Maybe it's then TOS can't decide if Riker sounded more like a wimp for crying out, Data, someone's got me, wah! Or if it was smart because Data is the strongest crew member. Well, I mean, I guess that's but Data should know that he needs to. And there's another thing, what about Data like jumping in there and grabbing him and pulling him out and stuff because, he's a super robot.
Because he can dodge lasers.
He's super Data most of the time.
Yes, he is.
But I don't know. But okay.
I don't know.
Well, I'm afraid of it. I just don't know, folks. Let's see here. Mark D with a C. C-, 2 out of 5 D&D black puddings. D&D black puddings. Wow. Thought the creature was interesting and a good attempt at practical effects before CGI. Seems crazy to beam down when Armus could kill them at will.
Mm-hmm.
And it could kill Will, too, by the way.
Yes, could Will kill Will at will.
Will kill Will at will. Yes. Yeah. Slightly. Yeah. Yar's death was a big shock when first watched since there were no internet spoilers. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was. I'll give him that. Back then, cringe moments, the funeral, ouch. Oh, God, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I was like, ugh. And I always thought it was dumb, and somehow on my latest viewing, it was even worse. But it helped the show since there was one less main character to focus on, and work was perfect. Oh, I think you mean Worf was perfect in charge. He should have been in charge of security anyway. But okay.
Can I just say that the comments coming through the chat are hysterical? Snail Messiah just yells out, "Fire at will!"
Please.
Says that you're fully functional and all. Bye, Data.
Not anymore. Yep, she should have said that. Oh dear. Let's see. I think we've got them all.
Did we get everyone?
I think we got everybody. I hope we did everyone. If not, please let us know.
Great comments, everyone. You guys are hysterical, and gals are hysterical this evening.
Yeah. Hello there, Punk Waddle. Welcome. Always a pleasure to have you pop in there. We always love it when new friends pop in. I know you've been here before, though, of course, but I'm just saying. It is great to see you. I think we are ready to move on to our next episode.
Phoenix Argus just came in with a review, Captain. It's at 38 minutes past the hour. Would you like me to read it?
Sure. Go ahead, because there
are some people that are missing from the from the chat. StreamYards is acting up. I'll just read this quickly. F. Yara's funeral was unconvincing, and Denise's reason for leaving was petty. Didn't want to stand around, then tried to worm her way in after rolls dried up. Pathetic. Yeah, I agree. Phoenix Argus, that is a great comment. And yeah, I totally agree. I completely agree. Don't act like the show is beneath you and then, switch your story around. Imagine being
Yes.
quoted saying you were on one of the greatest television shows of all time and that you were miserable and hated it and didn't want to wear the uniform and say aye, Captain.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
What a tough chore. I'd rather dig ditches than say aye, Captain. Ugh.
Yeah, just so sad.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Well, I believe we're ready to move on to our next thrilling episode
We are.
of These Are the Days of Our Starship.
Oh boy. It's really Knots Landing. And it just puts knots in your stomach. Just
yes.
Here we go.
Here we go, folks.
We'll always have Paris.
Paris.
Season 1, episode 24, May 2nd, 1988. Some people call this episode We'll Always Have Paris. I call it Lazarus Goes to Knots Landing. So if you've just joined us, we are reading excerpts from, but certainly not all of it, from Star Trek 365, The Next Generation by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman. This book has been blessed by Ronald D. Moore. It is a published book with lots of great facts and lots of production info that is verified and is not fan lore. Sometimes it's written well, and sometimes it's rather dubious. But I'm going to read from it extemporaneously. If you would all like to turn to page 62 of your hymnal. Here we go. A distress signal leads the Enterprise to the science outpost on Vandor 4, where Dr. Paul Mannheim has been performing experiments in non-linear time. Mannheim's wife, Janice, is an old flame of the captain's, and while it's obvious to the crew that Picard's feelings about her are unresolved, it's her husband's work that soon has everyone's undivided attention. His most recent experiment has created an opening between dimensions that, if left open, could destroy the interdimensional fabric of space itself. Jam a ship in it. Stunt casting, hiring a name actor to play a supporting role, ostensibly to pull in a larger audience, is a recent addition to the Oxford Dictionary, a 2011 subordinate entry under the existing word stunt. However, it's not new. In fact, it's been standard practice on television since the days of I Love Lucy, which featured a multitude of appearances from prominent actors of the day, usually playing comically tweaked versions of themselves. Star Trek, like Lucy, a Desilu production, at least initially, is no stranger to stunt casting. The original series was restrained in its use of gimmick Melvin Bellini, Belly, being the somewhat garish exception. But the Next Generation was more than willing to go there. If a famous person was a fan of Star Trek, chances are that he or she would show up sooner or later on TNG. Whether said person was an actor, Gene Simmons, Paul Winfield, Kelsey Grammer, B.B. Newworth, stand-up comedian Joe Piscopo, recording artist turned actor Mick Fleetwood, Theodore Bickle, Ben Vereen, astronaut Mae Jemison, scientist Stephen Hawking, sports star James Worthy, or Star Trek icon, that should be icons, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelly, James Doohan, Mark Lenard, and Majel Barrett. By the time Star Trek fan Michelle Phillips turned up on TNG as Picard's old flame Janice, she was well established as an actress with reoccurring roles on shows like Knots Landing, Fantasy Island, and The Love Boat. But her iconic status as a 60s superstar, as the former member of the Mamas and the Papas, the renowned folk pop vocal group that scored 11 top 40 songs between 1965 and 1968, likely didn't hurt the casting process. And that is all the block text has to say on We'll Always Have Paris, also known as Lazarus Goes to Knots Landing. Comments, Clobby?
Well, I don't know if I have many. This episode is so Forget. I think I'm in a time, some sort of time problem. This is in the episode where I'm not sure if I watched it or not. I did watch it, but maybe I didn't. Maybe but the machine or whatever it was that was affecting time had an effect not only on space, way many light years out there, but the viewer, because
Yes.
it may somehow it may be affecting even my bad memory and excising itself from my memory every time I watch it. It sort of like it makes me jump back in time like I didn't watch it. If you see what I'm saying,
Yes.
because it was boring.
Yes.
I don't have a whole lot to say. And I'm not even trying. And I was sort of trying to joke around there for a minute, but in all seriousness, this episode holds so little for me. It's just like, okay, I mean, all right, your premise is you got an old flame of Picard's, whatever. Yeah, that's never been done. Tied into, it just so happens to be tied into and this is kind of really old in Star Trek, where old Flame is now working with some old scientist on some planet who's screwing everything up. In this case, screwing up time.
Yeah.
And I can't even get involved in the episode. I'm watching it, and it's just not engrossing at all. There's nothing. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't have much of an opinion on this one. I just think it's dull. I don't think they don't really explain anything. They just use a few little time trick gimmicks to try to hook you into their episode. But there's nothing really, nothing really grabs me. I'm just like, are you sure that even happened? Okay, oh, they're seeing their other selves from, yeah, I'm sure they'll get that. You guys get that. I tell you what, you guys go get that straightened out, and everything will be fine. And Picard can look sad about the woman. I don't really mean to be flip about it, folks. I just think this episode is just everything about it is dull and cliche. I mean, it's not even. Look, there are way worse ones. I just can't.
Yeah.
Really get into it. I'm sorry to be that way about it.
Well, the chat's agreeing with you. Mark D with the C says maybe if she sang, and maybe she could sing "All the Diapers Are Brown." There's just so many poopy diapers here, and Snortapoopus, echoing and amplifying the mundane, says, "We'll always have Peoria."
The best thing about the episode is that it's a line from a great movie.
Yes, Casablanca, right?
Well, I mean, Michelle Phillips is a lovely woman, by the way. I'm not discounting that either. Just I don't know. I mean, even back when I saw it, my reaction was like, okay. I can't even be angry with it.
Oh.
I wish I could just beat up on it, but I can't. I mean,
well, I can beat up on it because I can't stand this episode. Would you like to hear my notes?
Go for it. I'm glad someone's got some emotion about this one.
Okay, so folks, if you're just tuning in, I usually write notes while I'm watching the episodes because I watch the episodes every year. So these are my notes from this year. I start with my Sharona because of Sharona 8. This is the writer's strike is looming at this point, and Shearer wouldn't cross the picket line, so she suggested dialogue options over the phone. So this is why the suck is so hard and the diapers are so full. The unromantic, uninteresting romantic tale that doesn't belong in Star Trek. Knots landing in space. Will Jean-Luc choose Janice or Beverly? Find out next week, folks. Anyways, this is a Wesley free zone. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, now I love it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now I love it.
The cafe has Kirk's furniture. I also had that same diamond cabinet. But this is the diamond cabinet, of course, from Kirk's apartment in Tiwok. The Picard's shoulder pads in the cafe are absolutely terrible. Like, it makes you think, that he's like before. He's like the before and after of shoulders. It's so bad. There is zero chemistry between Patty Stew and Phillips. Here's where I really go off the rails. Phillips's costume is absolutely terrible. Did they steal the retirement home drapery and turn it into a costume? This is like Gone with the Wind, only Carol Burnett's version. The alternative factor, Lazarus has a breakdown, a man in 2 dimensions with wild eyes. Mannheim even looks like Lazarus minus the face pubes. And that's all I have to say about this episode.
Oh my God! Well, we'll be merciful then, folks, and we will say part if you kill me for the pun if you want to. Time by just going ahead and getting because I got nothing to say about it. It's just okay. It happened. It was great. You guys hope you had a good time filming it.
If you put up a picture of Lazarus and you put up a picture of Mannheim,
side
by side, they look identical. Just one has more pubeish type of looking facial hair. It's ridiculous, and they both have the same wild eyes when they're in 2 dimensions. Anyways, go read Gene Roddenberry's Bible and stop redoing episodes in a terrible way when the original episodes were good. Not that the alternative factor was good, because it may be the biggest stink in all of Star Trek history.
Yeah, at least you can work up some emotion about it. But geez, this one's like, eh. But okay, give me a rating of we will always have time, Paris and stuff or whatever.
Okay, I gave it a D- on my paper, but I just because of the Carol Burnett attacking of the retirement home drapery costuming, I'm reducing my D- to an F. This is an F. It's a fail. Fail.
Oh, I got a D-.
So we have the same rating, but I'm standing by my reduction.
Go for it, folks. Give us yours, unless you slip into like a time warp or something and forget that you watched the episode, and then you don't. So that way we'll really make good time, because there's no point in wasting time on this one.
Yes.
Zathras says oh wait, there's Zathras. Sorry. Okay, Zathras says, let me stop my chat. There we go. I had to stop my chat when it gets F S as in FM. Up you, Felix Hunger. That waiter thought this would be his big break. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, Zathras, I totally agree. He's really into that one line he has. Hey, it's hysterical. I just love it.
Go for it. There's Jill. Go for it.
Oh, and here we have my fellow nerd, Jill. She is coming in with a D. She's giving this episode a D, and she has 1 of 2. Time distortions are fun. A scientist manipulates time to travel to another dimension and gets his compatriots killed, but seems to get away with it with a mention of a Federation hearing.
Yes.
2 of
That's
2.
a good point.
The best part is when Data patches up the dimensional rift. Paris and not Tom. So that part didn't interest me.
Well done, Jill.
Very well done, Jill.
Stephen Thompson, F. Here's my deep, well thought out analysis worthy of dear lady and derivative Jill. Well, she was cute at least. Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Meaning Michelle was. I mean, she was. I didn't know she was. I learned something. I didn't know she was a Star Trek fan. Okay, that's great. Doubt she was a fan of this episode, but it could be wrong. Snora poopers.
Snort a poopus, Cuber.
C-. Oh, never mind. D-.
Yeah, right, Snorty? My good bear. I'm sending you some chin
Bear.
scritches. I changed my grade too. Lower. Make it lower.
A silly somebody broke time episode, relieved only by Picard fencing and some references to Casablanca. Yes, it doesn't deserve.
I'd pay money to watch a polar bear relieve himself on this episode.
I'd pay money not to, but that's another. It's all to each their own. I always say. Tyrell 72. It goes F. Goes past F to G.
Yes, wow, Tyrell. Like seriously, right? Tyrell, it's so bad.
Sandra Feliciano, C. Not a very impressive story. Shouldn't they all be past the strong feelings of love? Yeah. Mannheim's head looked like it was disembodied and floating in a black background. Indeed. The other Feliciano, as in Raymond, says, D. I like Michelle Phillips. Well, who doesn't? Which is the only redeeming factor along with the Hollow Gal. Oh yeah, the Hollow Gal. I loved her. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
that's my favorite thing about the episode. I love her. She is. I love her.
Well, some people were hoping for a wardrobe malfunction there.
I would be amongst them. Oh man, yeah. In that case, if you're gonna be that way, I better I'll just okay. There you go, guys. For the pain of watching this episode, you deserve something. California Dreaming.
Cleanse your minds, ladies and gentlemen, and feast your eyes on this gorgeous young woman who everyone is cheering to have a wardrobe malfunction.
Yep. And you know what? I was probably around her age at that time. Damn it. Otherwise, move along.
me too,
Nothing
you
to
know?
see here. Oh yeah. Well,
You're a little bit older than me.
and she was probably right there in my age group. Damn it.
Yeah,
Damn it. Wolfie, 2 of 10. Someone called Kitty Loggins because we are in the danger zone of time distorting poopy diapers. Time distorting poopy diapers. This episode smelled worse than pairs of original sewage system.
He's talking about the Paris original sewage system that killed
Yes.
all those people. It's just the stupid autocorrect. Wolfie, that's a great comment. I love it.
Indeed.
So
Snail
funny.
Messiah. Dear Clobberin and Raquel, due to my love of this podcast, you are now required by Snail Law to do it 3 times a week. TNG, DSN, DS9, and Voyager, all a bonus int episode a week. Wow, that would take some doing there, but you know what? If we could, I would, because I would love hanging out with Raquel.
Yeah.
If we could, sir, and I thank you for those kind words. Thank you so much. It would mean a lot to us, and so I'm glad you're enjoying it. We enjoy hanging out with all of you.
Yeah, we love your company.
I think my chat just jumped on me.
Yeah, my chat's doing weird stuff too. I can't see some people when they come in the room and stuff like that. It's just there's something going on with StreamYards. Maybe it's super busy tonight. I don't know.
Oh yeah, let me get back to where I was. But thank you for that small Snail Messiah there. Let's see. We'll get to okay, there we go. Mr. Angel. No rating. I used my time machine to erase this episode from my personal timeline in memory, so I'm lucky. Yippee! Can you loan that to me just for a few minutes? Yeah. And that. Katie Carr. Easy C for me. Not bad, not great, just average. This is when early TNG started to change, and you could feel the shift of the show beginning.
Yes.
Thank you so much, the lovely Katie Cole. We appreciate you.
Out of the weeds, aren't we, Katie? We're out of the weeds. We're not totally on the road yet, but at least we're out of the weeds.
Got to pull off out of that sand trap, I guess, and you get back onto the course there.
Yeah.
Crazy Pineapple C-. The love triangle subplot was a snoozer, but Michelle Phillips looked really, really good. Thus, a passing grade. Well, I can't argue with that.
I respect that great Crazy Pineapple.
She was a cutie. I mean, maybe I kind of like the younger one there, but
and
that's
no
kind
one
of
can say these men are superficial because look at what she's wearing. She is essentially wearing the Carol Burnett version of retirement drapes, and yet the men still think she's a cutie patootie. So the men in this chat, they are not shallow.
Yeah, this is me being shallow putting this picture up here. So
oh no, that's just you being realistic. She's gorgeous.
Oh,
she's absolutely gorgeous. So
I'm going,
good for her. Yeah,
I forgot why I was here. I know you're a hologram, but did you know I'm captain of my own ship? No. Max Redstone D-. I think it means minus. They had 1 or 2 cool sight gags, but this distilled the worst parts of Lazarus and the Binars episode shenanigans from that episode of Numbers.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
I agree. So much Lazarus, and
we need
way less of Lazarus.
Yes, indeed we do. Phantom outsider. Z as in Z, this is the greatest. This is the greatest invention to help those with insomnia. It also causes memory loss. Someone put a mirror in front of the turbo lift and immediately think time rift. I'll get to your second one as soon as I can find it, buddy. Monica D with a C line. He's a pretty kind critic, and here he goes with a D-. 1 out of 5 Lazarus beards. So they're going to go back to do experiments that might destroy the universe.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Picard give them the Project Genesis plans while they're yeah,
exactly. Right.
Just go ahead. The universe has been around long enough. Screw it. It's just a universe after all. What are you overreacting for? Only thing good in this episode was triplicate data. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was funny. JT Kirk. 6 desperate fencing opponents out of 20. The only lingering question is which time distortion Data dropped the ball on this plot.
Yep, excellent comment. Love it, love it.
And let's see here. Oh, the fencing thing. I like the. I don't know where you get that fencing thingy there, Deckard, but I like it. Pat S. D plus. This is an episode you wish you could see again as a 12-year-old kid. As a kid, this was an amazing, super cool sci-fi episode. Plus, it had those Parent Trap special effects. Parent Trap. Yeah. I see. The double up thingy. Yeah, I got you. The other one for Phantom Outsider is also find out Picard is insane as he left her to go to Starfleet, even though it's well established that families on starships are a thing now. Maybe they weren't at that time. I don't know. Or do only single guys get promoted? Seem like a lawsuit. I don't know if only single guys get promoted. That's a good question. I think we got them all now. Let's see. I think we may be ready.
Dee Myers.
Oh,
Dee Myers at 59 minutes past the hour. Is it showing up on your StreamYards?
Let me see. There we go. Got it.
Yeah.
My bad. I thought we'd gotten past.
No, that's okay.
Bobby, I give it a D-. Never got past this halfway through. I just lost interest in the episode. This is where I almost lost interest in it.
Yeah.
Well, look, Dee. I totally get you. It was, it's so forgettable. I can't even really, other than joking around about it, I can't even really work up a lot of much of anything for it, to be honest with you.
When you watch this episode, I just want you to imagine Carol Burnett doing the parody of Gone with the Wind, where she comes down the staircase, but she still has the pull from the drapes in the back of the dress. When you look at Michelle Phillips' Janice's outfit, just look at it. Seriously, she stole those from a retirement facility, and the only thing that's missing is the curtain rod on her shoulders. Anyway, sorry everyone.
Nope, I got you. Well, are we ready for our next one?
I think we are.
We're ready for our next episode, ladies and gentlemen. Conspiracy. Go for it.
Yeah, Conspiracy, Season 1, Episode 25. The first airing was May 9th, 1988. And if you're following along, we are reading from Star Trek 365, The Next Generation by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman. This book it was blessed by Ronald D. Moore. We are on page 63. Picard is alarmed when his close friend Walker Keel warns him of a possible conspiracy within Starfleet's upper ranks. Not long after, Picard learns that the Horatio, Keel's ship, has been destroyed with all hands aboard, possibly legitimizing the man's paranoia. Uncertain who to trust, Picard takes the Enterprise to Earth, determined to uncover the truth. Upon arrival, all appears normal. Picard is greeted casually and invited to dinner with senior members of Starfleet Command. With Picard occupied at Starfleet headquarters, Admiral Quinn pays a friendly visit to the starship. Per Picard's orders, Riker sticks close to the older man, keeping an eye out for suspicious behavior. Nevertheless, he's completely unprepared when the Admiral attacks him with a display of inhuman strength. In the meantime, dinner turns out to be a bowl of wriggling maggots. And Picard realizes that his Starfleet hosts are something other than human. And then it says here, opposite, we see Andrew Probert's appropriately icky concept art.
You got any batteries? Got any double A's?
Cloppy.
In the middle of a show, I'm in emergency mode.
Okay. It's okay, folks. I'll keep reading. Okay. Conspiracy was conceived as a 7 Days in May style thriller set in the hallowed corridors of Starfleet Command. The notion that something was very wrong within Starfleet had been hinted at in Coming of Age, but Gene Roddenberry felt very strongly that Starfleet officers were above politics and subterfuge. And so the conspirators were transformed into outsiders, alien parasites. Shifting the episode's focus from thriller to near horror show challenged a coalition of up-for-it effects teams. The latex and flexible wire baby creature crawling up Remic's arm was shot by David Stipes using stop-motion techniques he had employed while animating the Pillsbury Doughboy for commercials. We also made partial sections of the baby so it could appear to crawl into Remic's mouth, reveals visual effects coordinator Dan Curry, starting with a half creature and then a hollow tail that fits just over the actor's tongue for the final entry. He just pulled his tongue back. To help sell the effect, Michael Westmore applied a skin sleeve to actor Robert Shekin. No, let me try this. Shenkin's neck and knelt behind him, blowing through tubes into a series of bladders, giving the impression of a parasite moving in Remic's throat. Remic's head, the other one that blew up, that is, was made from a randomly chosen mold obtained by Dick Brownfield, TNG's special physical effects master. We labeled it Paul Newman, says Curry, smiling. We packed it with raw meat and explosive squibs, creating the shape of a head, he explains. Then we blew it up. So Paul Newman was on Star Trek? Curry considers briefly. By overcranking the footage, they slowed the action down to approximately 300 frames per second, allowing the audience to get a good look at the mayhem. Property master Alan Sims manipulated the gruesome Mother, a latex hand puppet with a mechanical jaw built like a baby by North Hollywood-based makeup and effects laboratories, from underneath the headless Remick corpse. There was a hole in the bottom, so Alan could just reach up into the body with the puppet, says Curry. We packed the body cavity with cotton candy and placed little water spritzers inside. When the spritzers went on, the cotton candy turned into red goo, which was the gory effect we wanted. But it ran down the hole, and poor Alan got bathed in the icky stuff. And then it says, opposite, Dan Curry with the real head of the conspiracy, or at least the episode's grim visual effects. And of course, we see a picture in the book of that. On to page 65. Although Conspiracy was a serious, even dark episode, an Easter egg planted in the art department provided one of the show's few light spots. As Data reviews recent orders from Starfleet Command, a variety of images flash on the monitor. A Klingon ship, a Starfleet shuttle pod, a few odd charts, and one very odd graphic with a big green bird with a human head. Fans spotted it and decided it was the Great Bird of the Galaxy, the mythical creature playfully invoked by Lieutenant Sulu in the episode of the original series, The Man Trap. They were correct. It was inserted here as a playful tribute. The name of this beast also was an inside joke. It had long been producer Robert Justman's nickname for Gene Roddenberry. The graphic of Data's monitor was based on a painting rendered by consulting senior illustrator Andrew Probert. Probert had created the original full-color version as a gift for Roddenberry on his 66th birthday in 1987. And in the book, it has just the most beautiful cartoon rendering of Gene as an eagle. But of course, the eagle has Gene's head. And then the flag feathers or the tail feathers of the bird look like the nacelles or the nacelles. And they say NCC 1701 on them. So just absolutely beautiful. And turning the page, that would be the end of the block text coverage of conspiracy theory. Clobby, it sounded like you had a little bit of a technical difficulty in the background there. But what did you think of the coverage that you heard, sir?
Exactly. I'm sorry you heard that, but I had no choice because my mouse went out on me, the batteries, I guess, and I had none. I was very angry. I was about to start destroying everything in the entire universe. I guess you could hear it then?
Yes, it's okay. It's all right.
I had no control over anything. And I'm sorry, by the way, JPR PH1, if that's how you say it, I'm sorry. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. And Phoenix, I'm sorry about that. I had no control over anything. That's why I couldn't. If you posted one, I didn't see it. I apologize for missing you. It's never my intent. And so I'm sorry about that, everyone. I couldn't even mute myself because of the stupid. Let me try to overcome my anger if I can. and that's not easy. You there?
Yes, I am. I'm just reading some comments as they're trickling in, and
Mhm.
some really philosophical comments, some really great comments, just really wonderful.
Well, there you go. Sorry about that, everyone.
Oh, don't worry about it,
So I didn't
Captain.
get to hear much of the coverage, but um, let's see here. Yeah, I I may shock everyone here, but I actually really like this episode. Always have.
Yeah,
I know it's a shocker.
yeah.
I probably shouldn't like this episode. I can give you reasons why I shouldn't, and I like it anyway because I think it's a downer. One of the frustrating things about this episode though is hindsight because they just leave, they never follow up on it, and that's very disappointing.
Yeah.
If you're going to do this, because this episode is Alaric, hello there, good to see
Hey,
you.
Alaric.
This episode is there's actually a fun component to it in the sense that they kind of went a little dark. They had a little bit of mystery, kind of some of the scary stuff like an old Trek episode would. You had the whole, I don't know, I think it's really a taut like thriller of an episode. I really like it all the way through. I guess you could poke holes in it, but I don't really have a whole lot of holes to poke in it. I think it was pretty entertaining, pretty well done. A nice mystery type thing going on that they'd set up in a previous episode with a little bit of portents. And the only thing about it is looking back on it now and going, wow, they never even went back and dealt with this. They couldn't. I mean, so it's a bit of, in hindsight, a bit of an easy resolution to this story. But I thought it was promising, entertaining, and back when I saw it then, I go, well, a lot of us took note and go, wow, that's kind of like a Star Trek thriller episode. You should do that on Trek sometimes. And yes, it had violence in it and scary stuff and gross crap like that, but so what? I thought it kind of worked as a thriller and an action episode. I like it.
Yeah, I think, you and I, we talk about this a lot about how Star Trek is like a book, and there different things happen in different chapters, and this long story that you're reading, it should have different notes. And I liken it to an arpeggio, and you hear me say that quite a lot, and it's because I do want a little bit of comedy in some episodes, and I do want really cerebral and hard science fiction in some episodes, and sometimes we are going to meet aliens that are creepy and gross, and are a little bit scary. I do think that people sort of overdo the scariness of this episode, though. I certainly wouldn't compare it to what they're doing with the filth, but I certainly would compare it to SETI eels. So just something that's just sort of gruesome. But I like the fact, I agree with you, and I think that this definitely belongs in Star Trek, because you're not always going to have this cerebral discussion where Picard pulls everyone into a staff meeting to ask, how they would like to be tickled. We're going to have different types of encounters when we reach out into the abyss. And so, yeah, I think it's not only does it fit, but it would have been kind of okay to see a little bit more of this.
Well, yeah, it's catchy, it's entertaining. That's another thing. It's suspenseful. They did a really good job with what they had there. Again, I'm not sure why they didn't follow up on it at least in an episode or two later. But right now, I mean, but seeing it the first time, I've always found it to be a pretty compelling episode. I like it. So now we have notes, right?
Yes, I do. They're very quick. I just said Gene Roddenberry's story idea, multiple sources say, but Gene would be opposed to assassins in Starfleet. Other sources say Gene did the entire episode, including the violent ending, in protest of corporate interference in the show. So he was getting lots of letters from higher ups about the show, and we know how much Gene was opposed to that corporate interference. He had dealt with it before and walked off of season 3. Others insist he was long gone off the show by now. So you're going to read stuff that's all over the map here in this episode, where there are so many different stories and people who their stories do not line up. They don't agree with one another, and everybody has their own little special story here. So there really is no one truth here, folks. And I know many of you look to me to make sure that I get the research done so that I can give you a definitive answer. Well, herein, there is no definitive answer. The definitive answer is that it's a din of noise. It's just a noisy cacophony of different people saying different things, and none of it lines up. Either he was there or he wasn't there. He was protesting the corporation interfering with the show, or he wasn't, or he was actually too sick to be on set. We'll never know, and evidently people want to tell all different sorts of tales about it. It's very obvious that this episode inspired the Goa'uld in 1994 Stargate, and it obviously inspired the Trills. So on here, I just drew Seti eels, bluegills, Goa'uld, then Trills. And I have Captain Scott is one of the best captains in the history of Starfleet, a great show of diversity. This is gory, too gory for me, but it is well written, well acted, and well executed. Worf saying a space vessel of some kind is absolutely terrible. That should be cut from the show. And some of the stunt doubles were filmed poorly. Other than that, this is a great episode. Yep.
So I had to stop the chat because we have a premature a little review in there. Someone put one before I'm ready, but so I have to stop it. So everyone, I'll get to it. I promise. And Phoenix, if you want to throw in a comment about that previous episode, feel free. So your rating on Conspiracy.
So you know me, Captain. You know that I don't like gore and I don't like violence. But I think that it's needed a little bit. You should have to, cover your eyes a little bit when you're talking about science fiction, because we are reaching out into the unknown, and it might not be pretty. And I think that this was well written, well executed. There are ways that you can chip away at it, but it's a B+ for me, Captain.
Yeah, I give this one an A because I got to give them for being really entertaining. Absolutely, things you could pick the pieces about it if you want to, and ultimately this is entertainment. And this was, considering the season we had been through, to see one that is just kind of a, I don't want to using the word fun's probably wrong, but one that that's entertaining and riveting and does a good job of building up tension and suspense and suspense.
Yep.
And is ultimately, I think, satisfying in spite of what we later not really getting it at the time. And like, whoa, this is spooky. What's going to happen? Well, we never know, but that, we didn't know that then, so you can't penalize it for that. So yeah, I go with an A on that one. So now I'll ask everyone their review or their rating and comments on Conspiracy. And I've got one now, and I'll get to the other one as soon as I can. Promise, folks. First, we've got Sandra Feliciano, B-. There were unexpected twists in this episode. It seemed more of a portend to threats to come, such as the Borg. With the signal going into space, the door was left open for another threat if needed.
Yep.
Yes.
And we should have gone back there. Sandra, we should have gone back to that to this story.
Yeah,
I think.
I really think so.
Yeah, there was more to be explored here.
I hope I'm hitting the next one, folks. Let's see. Westwood Tyrell. B. It's solid for the use of sci-fi horror fans while still maintaining its Trekness. That's fair enough, absolutely.
Agreed,
because they don't like to have to do what they did, and I like that captain's log at the end that Picard has to go. So it's sad that we had we respect life and we care about life, to have to destroy it, but they do have to sometimes. So that's also Trekish, where and so I like that. All right, everyone. Let's see where's the next one. I
I
think
have
again.
read in a couple of places, everyone should know this. I have read this in a couple of places, but I cannot verify it due to the weirdness of all the different stories circling this. But it has been said in several places that Gene Roddenberry did not want the mother creature killed at the end, wanted to keep it alive, but then just, anyways, that's a rumor, just so you know. And that's kind of exciting to think about, right? That he did not want that mother creature killed. So it's very interesting. But ultimately, he relented. And then, of course, like I said earlier, there is the rumor that he wanted it to be as vile as possible because of the corporate interference. So I should mention that.
Well, he did change over time, I suppose, but all I can tell you is that I've seen some of his, of course, not just the TV series, not just TOS, but there were times when, in some of the best Paladin episodes of, which of course had Gun Will Travel that he wrote, Paladin had to take a dude down. He did it.
Yeah.
He would draw that gun and he'd blast him. But
Yeah.
again, because Roddenberry was a cop
Yeah, he was.
and a warrior. So
Yeah.
whether he lied, and maybe he didn't like that later in life, but so
Yeah.
there you go. Sometimes he knows you got to do it. The Catman, aka D.D. Myers, says, if it was, I think you mean it wasn't for this episode, I would have never stayed with the series to the end. I thought this episode is an A-. There you go.
Good stuff, D.D. Myers.
Indeed. Zathra 61. C. Best part when Worf gets thrown through the door. Wasn't it Geordi?
No, it's Geordi who gets thrown through the door. Worf gets thrown
So-
over the table, and he's knocked
Right.
out quite easily, where you're
Yeah,
sort
he
of like,
gets his-
are you Klingon?
He gets his butt kicked, that's for sure. Always thought Geordi saying, if I could see ABC in stars, best line of the series,
Yeah.
not there for lights. Yeah, there we go.
Zathras. That's a good one.
Indeed. R.N. Feliciano with an Eshpic. A+ from R.N. Feliciano, 5 out of 5, anti-trill.
Yeah.
See the DS9 relaunch book. It made for a great conclusion for the earlier episode with Rennick, or was it Remick? Rennick, whatever.
Remick.
Oh, yeah. I've not seen you here before. It's Mega Cropper. Hello there, Mega
Hello.
Cropper. Welcome. And
Nice to meet
Mega
you.
Cropper says the word gives us an A, and we appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Pat S, a B+. Picard and Riker lose some friends, almost eat grubs and two grubs, huh? Like was it Nog used to eat, and defeat Ray Harryhausen Studios. What's not to like? Until I did the rewatch, I thought this was the season finale. You never know. Maybe it should have been. I don't know. But what? So there you go. Let's see here.
Pat S,
Ooh.
I'll send you some beetle snuff. I'm kidding, of course.
Of course. I'll get to that. Oh, there's another one from Raymond. It would have been interesting to see where the signal went to. I've thought, it really would have. It really would have for sure. I'll find your third one when I can, sir. I don't want to get too discombobulated here. Snort says, 1 of 2. A-. This is a taut, unnerving episode with some interesting twists. Riker begins his hobby of eating creepy crawlies.
Yeah.
Yes, he did eat Gok. The final scene with Remick is unusually graphic for Star Trek. It is. There's no question about that there, Snort. Snort says, the end of the episode seems to set up a future story which was never developed. That is correct.
And it's sad.
It is sad. It would have been nice to see what, it would have been an interesting story. Mr. Angel, AA++. I loved this episode. Star Trek meets Lovecraft. Meets the invasion of the body snatchers.
Yeah.
Well written and performed. Epic episode. That was heavily censored, unfortunately, in many countries.
But unlike other Star Trek episodes, because other Star Trek episodes were actually banned, and then they wouldn't show them until the 1990s. For this particular, for TNG, they didn't ban the episode. You know what they did? They cut out the final gruesome scene, so it wasn't banned; it was edited, which is interesting, isn't it? Because when you look at the TOS episodes that were banned for torture and violence. Mm-hmm. So yeah, interesting. Anyways, I hope you find that interesting.
Indeed. I did not know that had happened. Well, not that it surprises me, but I did not know that. 1 of 2 rating for Wolfie. 8 of 10. Starfleet Command has the worst security ever.
Ever.
Ever. Just wait until the Dominion shows up. I guess we're going to need some more admirals. Armus was scary, but this was a nightmare fuel. Yeah, this was. It really was.
Mad admirals, as many insane admirals as possible, and some kooky commodores. So that's just what's happening here, Wolfie.
The Zamboni chair is back, but serves as the throat cricket Emperor's throne. Jesus.
Yeah.
The first and only time we ever see someone's head explode from phaser fire. Set phasers to Ark of the Covenant. Good one.
I can't believe they paid $10,000 for that chair. I don't know if they reused the chair, but wouldn't that be hysterical if they did? That chair was so much money.
Wow. Yep. JPR PH1A. Nirata Max Amanda Bear. Good to see you there, by the way. I give it an A. They kind of pulled it off, and this episode was memorable. I agree with you there. Phantom Outsider. B. The follow-up is the parasites infested the Star Trek writers as their leader is Klutzman. The reveal is Picard season 2 will be everyone has a parasite. Well, 2 probably.
But not the bestest parasite ever.
Yeah, it won't be the best of ever. Let's see here. Phantom Outsider. So all you need is tweezers to cut off the air supply to the buggers. Yeah, there you go. Yep. How they get in there. How they get in? Yeah. Seems really invasive. When did phasers ever have head explode setting? In this episode, they said there was a special feature.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Angel. I love how you remember. I love how the chat remembers. Yes, our discussion on the poop Zamboni.
Yeah, of course.
That's Wolfie, Mr. Angel, and I just the poop Zamboni. That was a great night.
Number 3 for Ara and Feliciano Raymond. Jordy should have been in traction after being tossed into the. A good point. Well, it is. They have medical sciences, so right then. Plot armor. Oh, and what kind of security does the ship have if they can't detect this the symbiote? Well, I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, of course they don't. They can't. What does Spock say? Sensors are only detect those things they are designed to register.
Yeah.
Jill, go for it.
Hello, Jill. She gives it a B+, and her comments come in 2 parts. And Jill says, why does Quinn tell Riker what is in the case if he doesn't want to infect him and wants Crusher? He could have lied, and Riker would have gone and his plan might have worked.
That was one of the things when watching it again, especially that Jill, that I had to kind of block out when I was talking about things you cannot block out. So I'm glad someone did bring it up.
You have to.
For all their clandestine plotting and all of them, you had to, if you didn't have an android like Data to suss out, and Picard was clever to put Data on it. If he didn't have the asset of Data, they never would have found out about this. So that's fine in the plot, but they're that particular, they're that careful, but all of a sudden, boom. Now, if the Enterprise shows up, screw it. We'll be fine. We don't have to. They were totally kind of got sloppy, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, sloppy.
2 of 2. Alas, poor Remick. We hardly knew you. And Jill says this, of course, because she thinks that the actor did a great job in his previous appearance. Ends with the possibility that others of this species might find Earth. They never do, but it was still a fun, a bit silly, yet still sharp horror episode. And great comments, Jill.
Yes, indeed.
I find that actor's last name so hard to say, Jill. I'm sorry if I butchered his last name. I know you're a fan of him. But his last name is hard. Have you seen it spelled out?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's terrible. It's very hard to say. I should probably go home and probably go off air and practice it.
He should have come up with a screen name. We know
yes.
who it is. Crazy Pineapple B. A good conclusion to the story arc of Remick with the alien parasites infiltrating Starfleet, a combination of the Ceti Alpha Eel and Alien. Yeah. TNG lost a great opportunity by not following up. I don't know what they were thinking. Yeah,
Agreed, Crazy Pineapple.
Indeedishness. Stephen Thompson. Clobby nailed it. 400 poopy diapers to the writer's room and directors for no follow-up.
Yeah,
I'm with you there, bud.
Isn't it interesting? Like, this was such an interesting story, and we needed follow-up on it, Stephen, didn't we?
It would have been a very. I think you could have probably, hit on it in a few episodes of each season and built up to something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because are we to believe now? Again, at least do one episode that tells us this, explains something, like maybe because of their hive mind mentality, that mother creature controlled them all, and when that happened, they put out all of the creatures inside of all of the how many people in Starfleet were carrying those things. If they all died, fine, but you kind of need to explain that.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing. And the signal thing, of course, leaves even the biggest puzzle, the biggest puzzle at the end there. So.
Yeah, because it's a homing beacon. And we needed to clean up on with the Zamboni on that one.
Indeed.
Yeah,
JT Kirk.
Kupis, and you even spelt it correctly. Shenkin. That's Shenkin. I hope I'm all right with that one.
JT Kirk. 7.5 slow phasers out of 10 transporter biofilters would catch these bugs. This fails a Trek Tech continuity test. The size of Starfleet would make a conspiracy like this simply unlikely to succeed, especially as sloppy as they got. Although they were doing fine till the Enterprise got brought into it. So
Raymond, clean up on aisle 3.
But they had
Bring
brought
out
the
the
Enterprise.
poop Zamboni.
Yeah, well, if Walker hadn't brought in the Enterprise before the Horatio got bumped, then they probably would have got away with it.
Yeah,
we got away with enough of those damn kids. Mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Do with a C. 5 out of 5 steady eels. When I first watched this episode, I thought, wow, TNG might actually be good. The ending scene was shocking for Trek with the Remick exploding like Mr. You really want me to say it? Creosote?
creosote?
I don't know who that is. What's wrong with you?
Creosote is like what builds up inside of your chimney, correct? I think so.
Well, he's Mr. I don't know who Mr. Creosote is. I don't know who that is, though. Great mystery action and a twist with Riker. Yep. Only flaw is the homing beacon was not followed up on in a later episode. I think we've got a consensus there. Max Redstall.
Oh, before we go there, please excuse me. Mr. Angel, I absolutely love you. Thank you for keeping it academic. I just love this stuff. This is where geeks and nerds part, and you've just done something very nerdy, and I love it. Mr. Angel, at 30 minutes past the hour, says, funny, Schenken is a Dutch word meaning pouring canister, and I love that the chef would know that. And I just love that you added that. Thank you so much, Mr. Angel. Appreciate it. Sorry to interrupt you, Clobby. Please excuse me.
There you go. No problem. Back Redstone, 1 of 2. B, this provided a bit of development and a bit of darkness into the Next Generation universe. Riker and Picard murdered captains and admirals before they could murder Starfleet. I don't think they killed those admirals.
No, they survived.
They survived.
They just had to put the phaser on kill because it acted like stun, because the creatures were providing what obviously Quinn called vitamins, but it was just fortifying them and sort of making them almost like superheroes or whatever. So they did survive. And of course, we do have that parting shot of Admiral Quinn with a big old smile on his face, and he's recovering in sickbay.
So there's stun, there's kill, and then there's the disintegrate setting. So the kill setting doesn't disintegrate you now? Whatever. Okay, fine. I mean, I guess they could have added another setting. I don't know. Let's see. Max Redstone. But they also pre-murdered any follow-up on what would have been a really cool story arc and cannot get an A from me. I understand.
You know what?
I love that that you're all very comfortable with repeating the fact that you also wanted to see a follow-up on this story, because it sort of behaves as a vote, doesn't it? It shows overwhelmingly that Trekkies wanted to see a follow-up on this story, an expansion of the explanation behind these aliens, and we wanted to go to this story again. So I love these comments, everyone. Thank you so much.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Phoenix Argus will always have Paris F, forgettable and unholy child of the man trapped in the alternative factor. Picard, not over his old flame. Then they try to C block Riker. Yes, thank you, Phoenix. Let's see here. Let me see if we got all of our. Okay, now we're
Snortapoopus, I don't know. Snortapoopus says, do phasers have a tickle setting for those special moments
Yes.
in the holodeck? Obviously, you're joking around, but I will tell you this. The engineering of the ships, the different ships, are not my area of expertise, and I can say the same for weaponry. I am not an expert in the weapons. I just know that there's stun, and then there's kill, and I do know that Klingon disruptors do that. They completely disintegrate the person. And I also know that disruptors are incredibly painful. But as far as why this creature it dies as though it were hit by a disruptor, I don't know. I can't answer that question. It just might be crappy writing.
You never know. Conspiracy B, that's Phoenix Argus. Interesting episode, although it was gory, and it works better, and it works better than the corruption that that crap film Insurrection put forward.
Mm-hmm.
Would have loved to see more development for that plot, absolutely. And Nerada Maxamandabear, I'm pretty sure it was further development, just as the Borg for the expense and possibly for other reasons. I think they're not really that similar, but I think they're probably. I think you're probably right in the sense that they said, we'll go conspiracy and follow up on that, or we'll just dump that and go with the Borg to be our.
Yeah. Well,
they went either or probably.
Yeah, and Phoenix Argus isn't alone in that. There is a great deal of speculation in that regard in fan lore. So many people say that this was the inspiration for the Borg. Many fans also say it was the inspiration for the Stargate Goa'uld. People really they really reach out. Authors are often inspired by other authors, and but unfortunately in Star Trek, the reason why we get kind of cheesed off about it is, of course, because all of Gene Roddenberry's Bibles say, please stop going back to the stories and redoing them. Don't do that, please. And he actually has a paragraph of that in his TNG Bible. And so, it's really important not to keep going back to the same pot for the same soup. But, I guess they do. That's what they do, right? But you are not alone in that speculation, Phoenix Argus. That is all over fandom. The Goa'uld thing and the Borg thing. All over fandom. You're not alone.
The wonderful Katie Carr says C-. I appreciate the storyline, but I feel the gore and brutality was unneeded, especially for a PG. Having violence in shows on Stars is one thing, but I feel they took it too far in this episode. Okie dokie. Let's see here.
Katie, I hate gore as well, and I love you. Beautiful ballerina.
I'm not a big fan of gore.
My Trekkie friend. Yeah, for this
but I didn't find this one all that gory, to be honest, but I hear you.
But I definitely understand it. You know what I mean? I definitely understand it, and I definitely respect that comment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying, I've seen, gross out stuff, like the eating of the damn thing, the thing going into the mouth and all that stuff. And then, it was for a Trek show on TV at the time, a little bit over the top, but it was one scene. It wasn't like multiple scenes or all that much, so it didn't bother me as much. But I don't really like the gore stuff either that much. So
no, I know you're not into the gore either, Captain. I beg your pardon, but our friend Steve Muscleman Mitchum has to go to sleep, and so he's saying goodnight to us at 36 minutes past.
All right, buddy, take it easy, brother.
Good night,
Have a good
Steve.
night, man.
Please kiss Maddie for me, and thank you so much for coming tonight. And if you can meet up with everyone, please send some selfies. You're going to be giant next to everyone with your huge muscles. He looks like Conan in real life. Steve Mitchum does. He's a huge man with big muscles. So it will be hysterical if you do wind up going to the con, Steve Mitchum. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and kiss Maddie.
Max Redstone. I should have known that. I've seen that movie a lot. Damn me for not getting that one. Very done. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Bop, bop, bop. All right, well, I missed the Monty Python reference. I should be fired. Let's get
flogged. We're going to drag you out into the street and have you flogged.
Mark D with a C. I'm sending you a link to take over my job for the rest of the night. You're going to have to. I think we got it all. All right, I think we got all that. We're going to move on, folks, and get to our last episode, not only of the night, but of the season.
The stinker that is season 1 is coming to an end with the neutral zone. Season 1, episode 26, first aired on May 16th, 1988. And if you're following along in the block text, which we are reading from Star Trek 365, The Next Generation by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman, blessed by the great Ronald D. Moore, we are on page or tile, because this silly thing looks like a brick, or which is funny because the lady's name is Block. But anyway, we're on 66. Let's do it. Following an investigation of a derelict space capsule, Data takes it upon himself to bring the vessel's occupants, 3 cryogenically preserved humans who were launched from Earth 300 years ago, back to the Enterprise. While the survivors reacclimate aboard the ship, Captain Picard receives disquieting news. Federation outposts along the edge of the Romulan neutral zone are disappearing. Starfleet has not heard a peep from the Romulans for 53 years, but Picard suspects that this activity near the neutral zone means that the hostile species has decided to make its presence felt in Federation territory once again. With the first season winding down and production on the neutral zone beginning, Andrew Probert sensed an opportunity. I didn't have any information except that the Romulans were coming back and that we had never seen their ship before in TNG, he said. Since the Enterprise is so horizontal, I wanted to contrast it with a vertical ship, but when he designed and submitted a tall, skinny ship concept opposite page far left lower panel, it didn't fly. And so in the book, you see some really nice artist renderings here. And now we have a quote. At this point, we didn't see Roddenberry anymore, Probert says. Yeah, I've read that in many places, Probert. You're telling the truth, and many people go against that, but it seems like the people who know what they're talking about. Yeah, Gene Roddenberry was not around anymore. And his quote goes on. He says, Gene had always been open to suggestions. I was in awe of how he had created the show, and my respect for him was enhanced by the fact that he would sit and listen to ideas. He may not always have used them, but he would always listen. I felt that if I had shown him the vertical warbird and explained my reasoning, he would have considered it. But that didn't happen. Instead, the designer was told by another producer, let's make it horizontal instead. So I created new preliminary drawings shown opposite across the bottom, and being that it was a warbird, I continued the bird-like motif from my earlier sketches. Eventually, Robert Probert added a bottom wing to the horizontal design. I hadn't thought about putting a bottom wing on there, but I looked sideways at one of my earlier vertical drawings and thought I'd add a loop to see how it worked. I drew that final image as a scale reference to the Enterprise, just to show the difference in size, he says. I loved even numbers, so the warbird is 4440 feet long, so 4,440 feet long. The thing is, I provided this image to the producers purposely to suggest that the scene be filmed with the Enterprise in front, obviously closer to us, yet the warbird is still larger. Unfortunately, the visual effects people reversed the shot, and you really have no idea how much larger the Romulan ship was.
Stale Messiah said something, by the way, before you continue. This has to leave because it's over there in Denmark.
Oh, no.
But something about hope. Did we find this? Did we have a super chat from? That must have been earlier because I can't remember now if we did that one.
I didn't see
Hope
your
it
super
says
chat.
it says
Snail
hope you
Messiah.
find this my super chat. Snail Messiah, I don't know of one. We had a
We
couple
don't.
earlier, unless that was the one we did earlier, and I'm forgetting.
No, we didn't have one from Snail Messiah. I don't think. I don't remember that. Snail Messiah, would you please retype your comment before you leave, our fine friend? And you know what we'll do? We'll put it up on the marquee, and we'll read it as though it were the super chat. We would love to do that for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Snail Messiah. I didn't see it, but I could have just missed it. I'll check and dig into my notes here and see. If you want to, let's see. If you want to continue with that reading that while I look for it.
Yes, and please just interrupt me, Captain.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, Mr. Angel didn't see the super chat either.
Huh.
On this side of StreamYards, I can't tell who's wrenching. I just always count on my Eric and my Chris Persia, Eric K and Chris Persia. So I don't know if my guys are still out there. I know Eric's in Vegas, and I know Chris was here earlier, but he might have had to leave. So whomever is wrenching, we could use a little bit of help. And I'm going to keep reading, and just interrupt me when you find it, please, boss man.
Okay.
The Enterprise's sensors are monitoring an ancient capsule, possibly from Earth. Worf suggests activating a tractor beam, but Riker responds, I think not, Mr. Worf. It's just a piece of space debris.
There it
Leave
is.
it be. Oh, great.
I'm sorry, but sorry about that.
No, you go ahead, sweetheart. Let's get this up. I can't believe that we missed it.
I can't put it up there because I don't have it. I had to go into my studio, so I can't put it up there, I'm afraid. But I can see that it says the words, and if I'm getting this wrong, stay on my side. This is all I'm seeing. It says amount. Thank you. It says 20. It's from Denmark. I don't know what that DKK.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what that means. But
So
thank you so
generous.
much. Very generous of you. It says because I appreciate you. That's the only all it says.
Snail Messiah, your participation here has just been outstanding. I absolutely love your company, and your feedback tonight has just Clobby and I so happy. You know, our hearts are soaring. We're so happy that you're having a great time here, and I am so happy that you are a part of our community. So generous of you, and mwah, mwah, mwah. I hope we'll see you next week, and I'm glad you had a great time tonight.
Mr. Angel, it says 060100 hours. I don't know what that means from that doesn't compute over here. I'm not really sure what that means, but thank you. I did not see it, and I would have seen it. Someone would have told me about it.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry about that. That happens with StreamYard sometimes and with YouTube.
Yeah.
Snail Messiah, my apologies. I hope you're hearing this. I really do, and I thank you for that. Sometimes it just doesn't show up. And I didn't see it, but I went into my background and my backstage thingy, and I see it, and I really appreciate you so much. I don't know why I did that. Apparently, no one. I don't know if anyone saw it in the. Mr. Angel did, so someone saw it, but
Raymond saw it as well. But I do have to tell you, folks, StreamYard is acting a little odd tonight. A couple of times when a few of you came into the room, I didn't see your comments, like your presence in the room, until much later, and then the chat is jumping. So I think StreamYard might be really busy tonight. And Snail Messiah, we value every single person who is a part of this community. We really view this show as a community. Clobby and I created this space because we wanted to bring Star Trek fans together. So we're so sorry to have missed your super chat, and we'll endeavor to not let it happen again. But StreamYards is a little bit wonky tonight.
Yeah, I totally missed it. I am so sorry. I know he's probably gone already. Snail Messiah probably already went because he had to go. Had to leave. I am so sorry. I wish I had seen that. My apologies. I hope anyone who knows Snail Messiah, and next time I see Snail Messiah pop in here, I'll definitely say something, because I hope I didn't think we were ignoring it. We would never do that.
Yeah, you were great company, Snail Messiah, and that is so incredibly generous and thoughtful of you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you, sir.
Yes, and again, if anyone ever sees Snail Messiah before I do, please tell them we did not see it, and I feel horrible about that. But anyway, we will continue. We will push on, And again, so much thanks to you. And thanks all of you for being here tonight. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, every single one of you.
Do you have more to go on that one?
Yes, I do.
Go
So
for it.
we're reading from tile 67, and I'm just going to pick up where I left off, folks. So what's wrong with this picture? Seeing as the above scene appears in an episode of Star Trek, just about everything. The capsule that represents exactly what the Enterprise mission is all about, from seeking out new life to boldly going, yet Riker seems content to just let it float off into oblivion. A few scenes later, it's Picard's turn. Informed that the capsule held 3 human occupants whom Data decided to retrieve, the captain is vexed. They were already dead, Picard chides. What more could have happened to them? Worse yet, now that Dr. Crusher has revived them, the captain grumbles, we're going to have to treat them as living human beings. Yeah, I know that makes me really upset. That's also in my notes. Really, Captain? You have preferred to let this historic opportunity pass you by, to leave the dead drifting in space for eternity rather than helping restore their lives? Charitable viewers might justify the above behavior by speculating that this early in the series, neither the writers nor actors had solidified their characters' personalities. Riker and Picard had not yet developed into the noble beings they would become in later seasons. But in truth, that wasn't the reason at all. It was just bad timing. In late February 1988, 9,000 members of the Writers Guild of America were preparing to go on strike against the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Their main argument was that under a proposed contract, writers of 1-hour dramas wouldn't receive proper residual payments for their work when it was syndicated after the original airing. The previous contract from 1985 ruled that writers be paid an entire amount of estimated royalties when the series was first sold. Producers wanted to modify that into paying on a sliding scale, arguing that many series didn't qualify for syndicated rerun status because they didn't last until the necessary 100th episode. Each group had legitimate concerns. The producers lost money on shows that only aired once, and the writers made most of their money on residuals. Negotiations ended in a stalemate. Starting in the first week of March, writers showed up outside their offices carrying picket signs. Leading up to the strike, some hour-long dramas already assembled enough scripts to complete their season. Not so with Star Trek: The Next Generation. Working from an idea that had been pitched by 2 freelance writers, producer Maurice Hurley had just a day and a half to complete the filmable teleplay before the current contract expired. Then the strike commenced, leaving no time to smooth out the rough dialogue or to finesse questionable characterization. Thankfully, there was time for the craftsmen behind the scenes to make the sequence look plausible. Rick Sternbach built the Cryo satellite model, its damaged solar panels contributed by the scenic artist Michael Okuda. Oh my goodness, you guys, there's another panel.
Wow.
Have you ever wondered why Romulans of the TNG era with pronounced brow ridges and a curious dip in the middle of the forehead look so different from the Romulans of the original series? According to Michael Westmore, it's because the producers wanted to make them appear more menacing than their forefathers. From the very first moments they appeared on screen, the viewer had to take them seriously rather than seeing them as a stereotyped villain with pointed ears, he explains. The 2 races, Vulcan and Romulans, were completely, well, that should say Vulcanians, and Romulans were completely different on a cultural level, but it wasn't that easy to tell them apart physically. They had the same basic skin color, they wore the same hairstyle, and both races had pointed ears and archless eyebrows. Aside from dressing them in different clothes, what were we going to do to bring out the diversity between them? For Westmore, who often gravitates to the anatomical region between the hairline and the nasal bridge when he establishes a new alien look, the solution was simple. I devised a forehead that had a dip in the center, and then I hollowed out the temple area, he said.
We wanted to stay close to their natural forehead, not making them look too Neanderthal, but giving them a built-in sullen expression that they couldn't get away from. Of course, at the time TNG reintroduced the Romulans to the Star Trek universe, the show's writers had not yet weighed in on the genealogical relationship to Vulcans. TOS's Balance of Terror had established only that the two races shared similar roots. In that episode, Spock described them as a likely offshoot of Vulcan blood. But TNG's fifth season personnel in the writer's room and their opinion about the Vulcan-Romulan relationship had changed. I hated the foreheads on the Romulans, commented writer Ronald D. Moore, who joined the series during the third season. The backstory established in Unification was that they were basically the same race, yet somehow the Romulans got these different foreheads at some point. But if there's anything about the Romulans that Moore dislikes even more than their furrowed brows, it's their threads. Not because the uniforms conflict with the backstory, but because he and his fellow writers thought they were ugly. We hated the Romulan outfits. This is Ronald D. Moore speaking. Big shoulder pads, the quilting, they were just dopey. And Rick Berman would defend them. It became this whole weird in-house political thing. We'd say we can't get new uniforms for them. And he'd say, we established them before any of you people were on the show. So, although modifications would be made over the season, Romulan gear would hew closely to William Theis's first season costume designs, for years as entrenched in Trek lore as the blood feud between Romulans and Klingons. And then, of course, they have a photograph. And oh my goodness, there's even another tile.
Oh my goodness.
And another tile. And I think it's just because they're closing up that season 1 coverage. I'm going to stop reading here. And I'm just going to say, what did you think of the coverage, Boss Man? And what did you think of the episode, The Neutral Zone?
By the way, shout out to Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you, Pat S, for that. Please, if you see Snail Messiah in that chat tomorrow, please say that to him for me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and send a shout out from Raquel as well. You just say that Raquel shouted him out, and Raquel and Clobby shouted him out.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. Well, that's a lot of coverage there. Yeah, I do. I tend to agree. I hate what they did to the Romulans. Look, I really don't like the way they kind of started making Vulcans look kind of weird on some of these newer shows, to be perfectly honest with you.
I agree.
I just leave them alone. Good God. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The episode itself, it has likable things in it, but the thing that really aggravates me the most is just what you covered. I'm glad they covered it because you've mentioned it. First of all, I understand that they have things going on, but Data is the only one acting like a Star Trek person, like a Starfleet officer. When you see a piece of space debris, I don't know how it got out there. It got that far out in only 400 years, but we'll just leave that aside. That looks clearly like an Earth satellite of some sort or anything, whether it looks like Earth or not. Yeah. You're just going to leave it alone. You're a science. Yes, you're everything, but you're also about science. You're about exploring.
Yep.
Why would you not look in? Well, come on, Data. Just who cares? It's just space junk. I don't care if it's space junk. Go check it out.
Yeah.
You're out there to seek out new life, but you're also to seek out science. And it doesn't. I can't understand it. And then Picard's attitude. They did it already dead. Well, that's nice. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it was really disappointing. Weird. It's disappointing, and I find the block text is a little too forgiving with it. I just think it's not because it's season 1. Here we are, 26 episodes in, and of course, as you all know very well, the cast was very vocal about who they were, who their characters were, how they thought their characters should dress, what kind of pets they should have, how big of a part of the series they should be. This whole, they weren't feeling comfortable in their own skins just yet is preposterous. They were so assured of who they were and what their characters were that Denise Crosby left the show. So that's a load of horse hockey.
That's a load of hooey.
Yeah, a load of hooey.
That's a bunch of hooey. sir.
Yeah, let's go
Who
get
is?
ourselves some low mileage pit wolfies.
Held them build a memory. I'm sorry. I like that stupid
Absolutely,
Sonny. What's his face?
absolutely, absolutely love it. It's in my
I
notes,
liked
but
him.
yeah, I loved him, and yeah,
Yeah.
but I just don't like the fact that Riker and Picard are just they're airheads here. They're the anti-explorers. They're the anti-scientists, and they're supposed to
Yeah.
be
What the
people
hell?
who are so keenly attuned to discovering new life and exploring other worlds that they're living their entire lives on a science vessel meant to do exactly that. They've joined a military force, and they're astronauts seeking out that life. But it's just like meh,
How
meh.
about this? How about this? Captain's log, Stardate. What is that again? We found some ship that looks like it's from Earth's past. I think Spock said it's something to like the botany, whatever. But who gives a crap?
Yeah,
Just leave it out there. No one cares.
yeah.
But Captain, shouldn't we? Do we have to? Come on, Spock. Don't be such a stick in the mud. Just leave it out there. And it was fine. They were already dead.
The Botany Bay,
It
they're
pretty much
already
on there.
dead. Doesn't mean we have to
Yeah.
treat them like people.
Yeah, who cares, man? It's like, hey, don't get off my back, Spock. Let's just we got other crap we can be doing.
Yeah.
It's just what is wrong? It was really dumb. Katie, you have a wonderful night and have a wonderful rest of your trip out there in Vegas. It is always lovely to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you.
Be safe, beautiful lady. Be safe and have a great time. And I look forward to hearing all about your adventures. So take care, sweetheart. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight.
Good night, indeed. Indeed. Be careful out there. So yeah, I don't know. I thought other than some of the stuff, aside from that, once we got past that point, was at least so intriguing idea with the people. I mean, again, the episode doesn't know what it wants to be. You could write a whole episode about them, or you could write a whole episode about dealing with the Romulans, but they didn't have time, so they just squeezed it into one, which was kind of all right. So you have a guy from the 20th century. We resurrect someone from the 20th century on the original series, and he threatens the galaxy. We resurrect people in this one, and they threaten to use the comm system. But some of the character stuff is undoubtedly entertaining, like with Sonny.
Sorry,
somebody's ringing. That's all right.
Sorry, that's my dog's heart medication alarm. Sorry.
There you go. Go ahead and take care of the puppy.
No, it's okay. Andrew's here. Andrew can give her medicine.
Gotcha. Poor puppy. So yeah, we've got some of that kind of character stuff's okay. Some of the stuff with the run is okay, but it all adds up to kind of a mishmash of an episode that I don't really mind that much. It's kind of maybe you should have ended the season with conspiracy though, an exciting ending instead of this. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Toward the end, at least they set up like the Romulans, we are back, and all this kind of stuff. We'll be back. The Romulans are back now, so. I don't know. I just found some of that stuff that we're talking about with Riker and Picard so annoying that it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. In fact, but I would like to see an old episode about Riker and the adventures of Data and Sonny.
Yeah, right. That'd be great.
Notes?
Yes. Before I get to my notes, Wolfie says that sounded like an incoming subspace transmission. Just so you know, Wolfie, yes, I have my entire phone outfitted with TOS. So I even get red alert when it rings. Okay, here are my notes, folks, for better or for worse. And sometimes I can be cruel. But I do try and give the highest grade possible. This goes completely against Gene's Bible. Romulans are merely new Romulans instead of a new species. This is another recycling of TOS against the Bible. The reaction to this capsule is just bizarre. Everyone is uninterested in the vehicle, despite being scientific explorers with absolutely nothing to do. Pihard's reaction is equally bizarre. Data, they were already dead. Now we'll have to treat them as living human beings. So where is Patty Stew's protest here? So we know that Patty Stew protested other other episodes. He didn't like his lines. He didn't think he should say this. He didn't think he should say that. So here, once again, we have one of these people who's very politically active on Twitter and is very didactic in his approach to entertainment. And here he did not protest his character saying, those people were already dead. Now we're going to have to treat them like living human beings. So who are these people? Riker is apathetic and Peahart is uninterested in preserving life and speaking to people who lived 375 years ago.
Yeah.
What's interesting in this episode is that we hear that TV is going to last until 2040. So I thought that our community should keep that in mind. Let's see how long TV lasts for. And then, of course, I had to include my favorite quote about the low mileage pit woofies. And if you are wondering what a pit woofie is, you ought to know that low mileage would be a young woman who is discerning in taste. And so she doesn't get around. She's definitely not the town bicycle. And a pit woofie would be one of those really good-looking girls that hangs around at these racetracks. So low mileage pit woofie is, of course, a demure but gorgeous looking girl who hangs around the racetrack. And we have great, I put in my notes, great guest star performances. The bridge access here is dubious. There are children on this ship. Where are the security measures? And that's all I have in my notes, boss.
Well, there you go. And also some of the exchanges when some of the higher, first of all, the holier than thou stuff that Picard's spouting to Alpha House is kind of. I mean, I agree with some of it, and others I'm like, I don't know. You could have handled that better. You're supposed to be a diplomat. Plus, something you just pointed out was about how, again, you're meeting people from 400 years ago.
Yeah,
who lived in a time 400 years ago, and you don't care. Not a big deal. Oh, they're just screwed it. And even Riker even talks kind of snobby about them. They're not very promising, are they? Yeah, that's not very nice. So, I mean, again, I would think explorers would be interested in the science of capturing that satellite that inexplicably is that far out in space in 400 years, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
But you're meeting someone from the 20th century. They'd be like, who wouldn't want to talk to someone who lived in a completely other time 400 years ago? But nah, it's all right.
Especially someone who is apparently obsessed by archaeology.
That's a good point. That wasn't mentioned yet, though. But yeah, you're right.
But
you're right.
Is that we also know, though, that Patrick Stewart was never supposed to be Picard, right? We were supposed to have a Frenchman here, and we had this well fleshed out character that Gene Roddenberry had created. That he had this character who he imagined. So yeah, it's just completely divorced from their characterizations and going directly against the Bible, Gene's Bible. And I hate to say it, but there's no excuse for it.
I would speak to that. What you're saying there is Jill as well. What Jill says, and Riker says a really mean thing about how did our species survive or something like that. Yes, the thing is that comes from something that's kind of innate in many science fiction writers when they want to do messages about how rotten humanity is, because even though they claim to be humanists, but they're really not, because they'll write a story and they'll have an alien character like Spock say, interesting how you humans always acquire that which you do not want, or whatever. They will use an alien as a mouthpiece as a commentary to attack humans when aliens are in their same story. Aliens are doing just as lousy crap as humans are doing.
Yes, exactly.
And that's something I've always noted about a lot of science fiction writers. Like they will actually twist logic so they could trash humanity.
Yes.
Even though, you got aliens doing a bunch of lousy, stupid, messed up crap too. So, it's just kind of a phony type of writing that I've never really liked. And again, it's very elitist and snotty. Oh, we're from the 24th century. We're way better than you 20th century humans. La-dee-da. We're more evolved than you bunch of apes. Well, okay, you are more evolved than them, but you're not talking like you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Crappy writing, I think, really, my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's terrible writing. At 3 minutes past the hour, we have the Catman, aka Dee Dee Myers. Dee Dee Myers says, "Raquel, is the puppy okay?" Yeah, sometimes when I'm on air, you may hear her coughing and stuff, but I want you to know that she is fine. So she's 13 years old and she has congestive heart failure. And 2 years ago, they told me that she was going to pass away. But we managed to get her some human grade heart medication that she takes several times a day. And so she's lived 2 more years. And she is
Oh,
a
good.
beautiful little person, and we just absolutely love her with all of our heart. And she's not in any pain or anything like that. I know you really love animals a lot, Dee Dee Myers. So I thought you should know, yes, she is okay. I know the coughing sounds sort of violent and scary, but that's just water around her heart, and she gets her medicine, and then it goes away. And then we have Mr. Angel. Absolutely love this comment at 4 minutes past the hour. He says, OMFG. Thanks for explaining the slang to the non-Americans. Mr. Angel, many, many, many years ago, I had to look that up as well because I just thought, what is a pit woofie? Like, I knew what low mileage meant, right? You don't want to eat a pie that's had too many forks in it, but I had to look up pit woofie as well, and I love that you addressed the international audience looking at low mileage pit woofie and going, ah!
Another one. The episode had a lot of good lines, that's for sure. Like,
Yeah.
well, what do you guys do? You don't drink, you don't watch TV. Must be kind of boring, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
Sonny had all the best lines. Come on, son. You don't have to. Don't act like that. You don't. These people know what they're doing. I mean, you telling them where the bear sits.
Yeah.
Sonny
I love
had
that
all the
line. That's a great line.
That android fella.
Yeah.
Oh crap! He was the best part of the episode. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt it was at least slightly interesting. The whole sad thing with the lady, and Ralph Oppenhaus was kind of written, a good actor. I've seen that guy in a lot of things. I draw a blank on his name, but he was kind of written as the let's take a shot at the businessman type thing. He's there just, although he made a shrewd observation on the bridge when he walked onto the bridge and stuff like that. So interesting moments in it, but it's just, again, a lot of, I don't know, just not really a well crafted episode by any stretch of the imagination. I would say
so much potential too, because you and I are around a half a century old. You're a little bit older than I am, but when we were all looking at cryogenics and the possibility, like, do you remember when they were stealing headlines when they were going to try and decapitate a person and do a head transplant, and they thought that freezing our bodies, that one day we might be reanimated and that we would be healed. I mean, they had all of the raw material here to create a really great story, but it's just not a really great story. And the characterization is just, it's awful. And for a bunch of actors who liked to whine and fight and complain all the time, boy, they were sure silent here when their characters are just complete morons.
Yeah. And it's funny how even Beverly didn't get put out when he smacked her on the. She's just like, I love her reaction to it, because you couldn't do that today. I mean, obviously it was out of line, but she's just like, yeah, whatever. She kind of laughed. She thought it was kind of funny. I love Beverly in the episode. She's kind of funny. She's like, wow, these people are pretty funny. I mean, I don't know. She wasn't like a bitch to them or anything like everybody, like Picard was.
Yeah, but it's definitely a moment stolen from Charlie X, right? Like, you could imagine Yeoman running, Charlie!
Yeah, but he knew better.
Yes, he definitely knew better. He was.
What's his name? That android fella?
Yeah, you mean Lieutenant Commander Data.
There should have been an episode, at least on Deep Space Nine. They should have brought Sonny back. I want to know what he's doing in the 24th century. That's the same old dance, just a different tune. That's all.
Yeah, and the fact that he could not hurt himself because it's synthahol. Like, I would love to see Sonny on synthahol. Like, he loved the martini, but wouldn't it have been great if he had to sit in 10 forward and have a drink with Scotty?
I'm going to be a bigger hit than I ever was, son.
Yeah.
I love that guy. So What is your rating of, unless you've got more notes,
No, that's it, boss man.
your
That's
rating
it.
of the neutral zone?
I gave this one a B minus.
Okay. I gave it a C plus.
I accept that. That's C plus is actually very close to B minus. They're almost
Yeah,
the
it's pretty
same
close.
grade. You
Yes.
want like there's potential
Some fun
here, but it
stuff
just
in it, yeah.
sucks. It just sucks. And I love that cryogenic stuff. I'm really
Mhm.
into science. I always have been. When this show came out in 1988, I thought that this was such a cool idea. And so forever I'll be thinking about the potential of being able to reanimate human beings that we've frozen. And I thought it was super cool in 88.
I wanted to define Walt Disney on that thing.
Yeah.
Well, chat, go for it. What is your rating, and any comments you may have, on the neutral zone? And we'll see what we got going here. Come on, let's see.
Anti-derivative Jill, Sunny and Data did have good chemistry. Better
They
chemistry than Janice and Picard.
Yeah.
Janice and Picard had no chemistry. Oh boy, the whole chat just jumped. All the ratings just
Oh my,
popped
yeah.
in. You guys are great. I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say.
Zathras B. The Romulans are back. By the way, Zathras and Clobby need to go out and find some low mileage pit wolf to help them build a memory. Yep. Let's go. Draw can get the message to me on episode. Yeah. Maybe we could go to Babylon 5 and find something, man.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Zathras, find pit wolfies. Zathras like pit wolfies. Clobby like pit wolfies too.
So funny.
Nirot Alexander, I liked this one. Hey,
oh, good, Nirot. I'm glad you said so.
Indeed. JT Kirk. 9 out of 10 low mileage pit wolfies. I am put off by Picard's reluctance to reviving the individuals as this is major historical fight. Again, it actually was no big deal. What the hell? When he's an archaeologist, it just seems out of character. And again, that's the thing that kind of aggravates me the most about the episode. Otherwise, it's fairly enjoyable.
Yeah, he's misanthropic. Like it's almost like he hates people. Like I can't believe he's like, we have to treat them like people. Oh, mom, boo hoo, we have to treat them like people. Like what? What? Who wrote this?
Indeed. Too many writing problems in this one. Also, I try, as JT says, I tried to determine which of the three revived I would be. I'd be Sunny. I seem to be a mixture of the two men, which is fascinating. What is fascinating is the woman seeking family and seems the most likely to adjust to a new situation. Yeah, she was definitely, relatable. She was probably the least caricatured of all, probably, to be honest, but Sunny's more fun. Auden Feliciano B. It's a decent finish to a mediocre initial season. If it was not for syndication, it would not have survived. Sunny became Morn. He became Morn. Maybe he is Morn. Would it have been great if he'd have popped up on a Deep Space Nine episode? It would have been hilarious. I have to give the block text a D for the writing. And you know what?
Sometimes the writing is just something else, isn't it, Raymond?
I believe Sonny went on a tour of the galaxy playing his music, and he had to stop off at DS9 at least once.
Yeah.
No question. Damn, I should have done that. Pat S, C minus. There was nobody that could babysit and acclimate the three frozen people, a security officer, junior counselor, or the ship's historian. Maybe keep the guy from Mannix. Yeah, the guy was on the Mannix. Ironsides in combat off the bridge. Yeah. He was on all those, Pat S, and a lot of other stuff. That dude was, good God, I think he was on a Twilight Zone, if I remember. He's been on a bunch of stuff. Maybe I was confusing him with Lloyd Botner. Sandra Feliciano B. I like this episode. The interpersonal relationships of three different personalities out of time and similar to culture shock we have going to another country for an extended time. Yes.
Excellent comment, Sandra.
Indeed. Snort a poopas. One of two. C or 2 out of 4 low mileage pit wolfies. It seems the 20th century has flooded space with cryogenically preserved people. Getting into space must be cheaper than we thought. And the thing is, again, that thing's pretty far out there. So yeah, there could be a whole bunch of other people, I guess. Oh, Snort Part 2. We get a definite date for the first time, 2364. The Romulans are back, and something is scooping out big chunks of planets in a later episode discovered to be the Borg. That is right. Max, the Redstone, says, this could have been a two-part episode. Part 1 focusing on the trio acclimating to the future. Part 2 focusing on the crew dealing mystery threat. Oh, that's not a rating, but yeah, I agree. Could have been fleshed out more. I'm with you.
Yeah, I would have liked for them to have just done what Gene wanted, which was to create another species. We weren't supposed to go back to the Romulans, and he swore them off of it, and they did it anyway. So,
yeah, rating B- for Wolfie. You would think there would be some hesitation boarding random cryostasis ships. It could have been the SS Botany Bay too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love me some Romulan warbirds. What a cool, menacing design. Duly obliged, Pit Wolfies.
Yeah.
I want a Pit Wolfie.
Wolfie, I agree with you. I do think that Romulan design that the gentleman did, I think he did do a really great job. I didn't like the forehead ridges. I wasn't in favor of bringing the Romulans back. The writers were supposed to be inspired enough to create new species. We're supposed to go and have new adventures. But yeah, that was a great redesign.
Yes, very good. B for Crazy Pineapple. Elements from Balance of Terra and Space Seed appear, but it works due to the signs and portents of things to come. The side of Diederdix. I'm sorry. Warbird covers the prize admission alone. I'm an idiot. Crazy Pineapple. I couldn't deal with that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's what the Warbird's called, and it's I don't understand why it's 2 D's, because it means from, like DE means from in French. So I don't know.
Got me there. Sorry about that. The butcher that one there, Crazy Pineapple. But thank you. Alara Carlson, B-. Pros are the revived characters give an impression of where humanity is and where humanity could go. Cons, Romulan visuals are almost unbearable, relying too much on visuals to set the tone.
Alark, that is such a great and intelligent comment. I totally agree with you. Yeah, isn't that the case, right? That when you put too much emphasis on aesthetics, then everything else starts to suffer. And that's definitely what's gone on here. What a great comment, Alark.
Indeed. And we have Jill. Take it away, number 1.
Okay, anti-derivative Jill. She has done 4, and she gives the whole episode a C+. She says, I don't like that Picard acts like they should have left the people to their death just because they would have died without their intervention. Yeah, I don't like that either, Jill.
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense. And here's number 2. I'm totally with you there. Tim's Talk, welcome. Good to see you.
And 2 out of 4, she says lots of things Picard and Riker say goes against their character in this episode, actually, but I will not mention them for the sake of time. Yeah, Jill, they are numerous, aren't they? 3 of 4, Star Trek predicts TV will be dead by 2040. I am ready for my holograms and holodecks, but dumb ocular implants will be first given the virtual headsets we have. 4 of 4. To cut myself short, it was a quick, odd, but intriguing re-intro to the Romulans, and viewers back then didn't know, but also the first time that anyone recognizes the after effects of the Borg.
Yes, absolutely. Well, by the way, Zathras, no, they don't say it, but later we find out it was the Borg.
Mm-hmm.
They were because remember in the episode they do say that whole chunks are being taken out of these these bases.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that, of course, at the time, obviously, we didn't know. But then a few episodes into the second season, we find out. Mr. Angel, C+. A C plus, bit messy episode that did not quite know what direction to go. Yes. However, Romulans and the Warbird. So I changed the grade to B. SOS. Send more pit whoopies run through the first batch. Well,
Mr.
son,
Angel.
we need you
good.
telling us where the bear sits. Can y'all get the Braves on this thing? Of course, they're probably still trying to find ways to lose. Like, and at the time, the Braves had not won. Well, never mind. Right.
Yeah.
Phantom Outsider. B. Riker and Picard gun shy when it comes to sleeper ships, knowing they'd lose to anyone from the past. Sonny was now able to claim he wrote all the greatest hits of the 20th century. That's what he did.
Great one. Good one, Phantom Outsider.
Yep. Let's see. Yes, Sonny would go. Yep, he would. He's out there traveling the 24th century. No question
what
about
did
it.
she
Joe.
say? I'm sorry, I missed that. Can we put that one back?
She said,
yes, Sonny would go on to become a 24th century traveling bard, telling the tales of the galaxy. Jill, I love you, Jill.
And there's another thing. Since even though Riker and Picard were acting like dumbasses, every Starfleet historian wants to talk to those people. For God's sake, Pettis, the trivia on Amazon Prime said this was originally supposed to be a Harry Mudd episode, but Roger Carmel passed. He did pass. Huh. I've never heard that.
I have never heard that, nor have I read it. I could look into it for you.
That would be more likely that the outrageous O'Connor would be that, which we'll be seeing soon. Because that was almost like they were trying to set something like that up. But anyway, Max Redstone, B minus. It could have been worse. Now bring on the hooey boys. I love the way Spider said hooey.
I love Max's comment. It's great. Love it.
Yeah, let's see here. I think let's make sure we got them all. No,
right,
I know
Mr. Angel. Jill is a wonderful nerd. I love her.
We didn't. Oh yeah, I knew we didn't have them all because I didn't see Mark D with C yet. There we go. C for Mark D with a C. Didn't Picard know that the frozen people were mostly dead? Not all. Yeah, they're only mostly dead. Princess Bride reference. You have to get me on references on that one at least. Lack of inquiry into the ship is out of character. Yeah, it was terrible. This episode is all over the place. Sonny and the sorry, let me get to be continued. Let's see here. Frozen crew give the episodes fun moments, and the Romulans are a better foil than the Ferengi, that's for sure. Wonder if Futurama got the idea to do their parody where no fan has gone before from this episode. I'm not sure. I don't know that. I don't know. They could have gotten it right from this one. Why would they have gotten it from that one? I don't even know. Let's see here. I think we may be up to speed now.
Oh, Phantom Outsider says missed my part 2 above Mark D with the C.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry, Phantom. Let me look for it. Whoa, it's not there.
Let's see.
Oh, there we go. I got you. Sorry, Phantom. Fed doesn't use money. The Federation doesn't use money, but Sonny sold his catalog to the Ferengi and the yodeling song for Mars Attacks by Slim Whitman, right? On Kronos. It would also have disrupted the Borg. He could use it on just like in Mars Attacks. Use his music on the Borg. That'd be great. No accounting for Klingon music taste. There you go. Well, they do that like operas that last for days. So.
They do have Klingon opera, and Klingons invented opera. They also invented Shakespeare.
You have not read Klingon if you have not read them in the original Klingon. Shakespeare, the original Klingon, sorry. I got you, Crazy Pineapple. Cool, man. I thank you for that. Oh, Stephen Thompson? I'm bad at pronouncing things, Pineapple. Sorry about that. C. Once again, I flash back to when I first saw this episode. I have never forgotten this line. The challenge, Mr. Offenhouse, is to improve yourself, to enrich yourself. Enjoy it. Yeah, well, and then his retort should have been, well, that's what I'm trying to do, but they took all my money. I'm not going to enrich myself. I didn't mean it like that, you greedy son of a bitch. I meant you're supposed to sit around all day and do haikus and philosophize about archaeology and things like that.
Snortopoopus, do better.
Do better, damn it, you rotten 20th century scumbags!
Wolfie
Get
says,
down and give me clay. Sorry.
Wolfie says, ow, ow, ow. Wolfie says, I remember when I was in high school, I had to use the Daradex pads,
The Derek.
like benzoyl peroxide pads. I love you, Wolfie. Yeah, and by the way, Snorty went and looked that up, and Snorty just said it's a nonsense word, just totally made up. And then, of course, Snorty and I always agree on this. At least they didn't reach for the fake Latin this time.
Oh my goodness. Well, everyone, in closing of our season 1, let's get if everyone very quickly, we're going to give our overall rating of season 1, and you all can throw one out there. You don't have to be a long comment. Just throw what you rate season 1. Number 1, what is your rating of season 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Oh my goodness. I've been going back and forth on this, and I'm just not sure what I want to do. I cannot, in good conscience, give more than a D. That is the highest grade that this professor can give to this piece of Zamboni skid marks. This is the poop Zamboni skid mark of TNG. I can only give it a D, Captain.
We're on the same page as usual. I'm giving it a D because the quality of story level on a consistent basis is not just inconsistent; it's very poor if you look at it as a whole. So let's see what everyone says. Zathras, an F. What?
Oh, poor Jill. Jill's like, I didn't think I was going to have to do this. Give me a second. Gah!
Oh, it didn't have to be a long comment there, Jill. You could just give us a rating.
I just think that she's not sure because there's so much to balance. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm sorry. Jill, you don't have to do that. I mean, if you don't want to, you can abstain. We respect you either way.
The comments are just hysterical.
1903 S tier. Oh, Max Redstone, thank you so much for that super chat.
Max.
D Ralph Ralph Ostenhouse wants to speak to your manager. Are you calling him a Karen?
Oh my goodness, Max Redstone. That is like possibly the best comment of the entire evening. That is hysterical.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate that. He thought he was on the Love Boat, I guess, when he was, that Mr. Offenhouse.
Yeah.
Somehow it gets a B from me for Naratna Max Vanderbeer. Thank you so much.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great grade, Narat. And I love that you don't go with the crowd, you go with your gut. And a lot of the time, Narat, Naxamanda Bear, you're always talking about how you very first felt about this series when it came out and the first time you were watching it. And that affects the way you grade. And I love it. I love your honesty.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all there.
No, I think it's great.
Let's see what else we got. My chat jumped on me. Sorry, everyone. Raymond Feliciano, D. For the season, but keep heart. There is more to come. Yeah, that's the second season. Snortopoopas, Cuba, or season 1, D+. At best, too many poopy diapers. That is for sure.
I love you, Snorty. Sending chin scritches to my favorite bear.
Indeed. Sandra Feliciano, D. For the season, it started so slow and barely started getting its legs towards the end. Absolutely. Wolfie.
Dadman Walking just walks through the door. Hello, Dadman. Wolfie.
Dadman Walking.
Oh, yeah, you have to read this one, Wolfie. Or Clobby. This one's really funny.
Let's see here. The D equals a giant wet fart slightly masked by a diaper. Thank you.
Clean up on aisle 3.
Crazy pineapple. Let's see here. D. At least it's higher than Blutarsky's GPA in Animal House. Yes.
Crazy pineapple. I love you.
Damn, right. The whole season tricky. C. Yeah. Some absolute stinkers, some beloved ones, and a warm welcome at the time for a beloved series. But the later seasons are better.
You're in
Thank
good
you,
company, Mr.
Mr.
Angel, because
Yes.
Jill is considering her grade right now. She's not
Uh-oh.
sure.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, Jill.
No, I'm glad you are. I can't wait to hear what she has to say. She doesn't mind.
JT Kirk, C-. It is better by season 3, but of it is better by season 3 of TOS, but only by the thinnest margins. Oh, I see. But I think you mean better than season. Okay. This hurts my brain just to figure out where to put this season. Shut up, Wesley. Yes.
JT Kirk. Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley. Thought about Slater D. They killed a main cast member, but like a poor marksman, they keep missing Wesley.
Phantom Outsider, take a bow,
Nice.
sir. Take a bow. That's excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
The Wesley-shaped target. I can't believe I made it, but I give a season grade for C, balancing out the episodes that I watched. Some really bad, some really good. Thank you,
Okay.
Dadman Walking. And a big shout out to Mrs. Dadman.
Yes.
Pat S, C+. It's still magical to me. It was a kid. I think I was a kid as much as I dislike this cast. Oh, it was a kid. And as much as I dislike this cast as a real life people, oh yeah, I still love the show. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people feel the same way, Pat S. Mm-hmm. Yeah, separate the art from the artist. I understand.
Hey, Apollome's Minion and the Pepperoni just arrived.
Oh, Apollome's Minion. I bet you're out there in Vegas, or are you? That's what I know. But I bet
she has a new puppy photo as her avatar as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
So good to see you, sweet lady.
Great to see you. Great to see you. And thank you for that picture. She made a picture for me, Emily. And I'm so honored. I'm not worthy. D. Bud Martin, the man of iron, F. Considering I found the pilot so bad that I didn't watch the show until season 3, what else can I give? Well, that's a good point. I only saw a few of these eps in reruns, which is why I haven't been grading the last few weeks. I hear you, dude.
That's okay, D-Bud.
Well, and you're still always welcome. We love having you here, and you can do the same with season 2 if you haven't seen that. And then when we get to 3, you'll when you get to 3, it'll be smoother sailing for you.
Yeah. And you're a wonderful company. I just love your personality and your company. So, yeah, I just go ahead and throw out those ratings, regardless of how much you remember or don't remember. We don't mind at all.
Indeed. Marcadia with a C says, Season 1, C-, but the last few episodes changed the slope of the curve to the positive direction. Mm-hmm. It was much more exciting to watch these when they came out in 1988. Most eps didn't age well. Maybe they, in a way, I kind of agree with that, Mark, but I don't, not 100% only because since most stuff is so crappy today, a crappy episode of one of these, even though it's fun to beat up on it, isn't as bad as some of the drivel that they make today. I could even go, well, at least it's kind of Trek here and there, and at least I can, I don't know.
Agreed.
Maybe that's just me.
Clubby, did you know that Max Redstone has met the pepperoni? He has met the met the truck dog. We're all jelly.
Oh, nice. And now for season 1, Riker's beard is on the way. So I think is that all of our season ratings? I think we got our season.
I think that's it. Oh,
not in Vegas. Okay, well, Max, that's still cool though. I hope you're almost home. Okay, well, hope you're being safe out there, Apollome's.
Yes, please drive carefully.
Well, everyone, I tell you what, it's been fantastic hanging out with you tonight. We it was a longer show than usual because we had 5.
We did.
Right up there. Well, actually, it was longer than last week, but it's about our usual. So thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate you. Oh, wait, we got Jill. I'm sorry, Jill. I forgot. Oh, you got Go ahead. I'm so sorry about that, Jill. I forgot you were going to do one.
So, no, that's okay. So 1 of 2, season 1, TNG. Jill is giving, my fellow nerd who I love, is giving it a C-. She says season 1 has many episodes you can skip, but several vital to the rest of the franchise that I treasure, including.
Oops.
It's okay. Many that are awful that will nevertheless live on to eternity, given the greatness they have given to the modern phenomenon we know as memes. Oh, what a great comment. I love you, Jill.
You're awesome, Jill.
Yeah, great. And that's a good rating. I think that's a decent rating.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, Terrell, thank you for that. Looking for oh yeah, Wednesday and Thursday shows. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Clobby has a big week coming up, Tyrell.
Yeah, got them all programmed even. Oh, let's see. LR Harrison C. Wobbly season as the cast and writers are finding their legs, but great that Star Trek was back on TV.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wolfie says I cannot emote without meme. Cannot emote without meme.
Indeed.
Cannot emote without meme.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for that, Pat S. I appreciate you, man. We're working on it. Let's see here. Bob. Well, I think now it is time to say some, we'll say our goodbyes. I'll do a couple show notes first, if we got everything. Show note number 1, folks. It takes a while to get down to there. Monday night. It is Jack Kirby month, as you well know, on Clobbering Times, and our Mark C. Comics Talk. Monday night, I will be interviewing my old buddy John Migo Stretch Hulk Cimino, not only the agent for the great comic book great legend Roy Thomas, but a contributor to one of my favorite magazines, Alter Ego magazine. The new issue is all devoted to the great king of comics, Jack Kirby, and we're going to talk about an article he wrote about the top 10 Marvel Kirby slugfests. So from the Silver Age, and he wrote that article, and we're going to talk about that and a lot of other things, Kirby. So that will be 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday night. Then Wednesday night, as you all know, by the way, there's no more comic book roundtable. Loki's disbanded that. We did our last show the other night, but we might bring it back sometime in October for those who've been asking. We will see. Wednesday night, I will be revisiting a movie. I'm going to be testing myself here. A film that I hate that everybody else loves called Dread. I've only seen it the one time in the theater before. I just rewatched it, that is. In 2012 when it hit theaters. Everyone loves this movie. I've decided, because I can change. I believe in change. I believe an opinion can change. I've changed opinions sometimes before.
True.
I've decided to test myself and see that if I could see this film in another light, because I love the character so much, of course. Why do I dread this film so much? Well, you'll find out.
Kirk, I love you, JT Kirk.
So, the great J-Man and I will be reviewing this. We'll be talking about this film, and I'm going to give it a fair shake.
You will.
And see if my review changes at all, because you never know. And then, of course, Thursday, the Global Geek Gang will gather to celebrate the date of birth of the great bird of the galaxy.
Yep.
The great Gene Roddenberry.
My guy, I miss him. I love him and I miss him. I miss him and Leonard Nimoy so much.
Well, thank you, Tyrell. I appreciate that. You never know. I've watched it again, and I may watch it again one more time before.
Yeah.
But we will see if my opinion has changed or not. But anyway, so yes, the great bird of the galaxy we love, and we will definitely be celebrating him 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Global Geek Gang this coming Thursday. So before we say our goodbyes, this, of course, please, everyone, check out. Oh, sorry, I put the wrong link there. I got to put the right link. Oh, by the way, no, this link I'm putting in here, if we were talking at the beginning of the show about the public service announcement PSA about Shatner and Nimoy did back in 1973.
Yeah.
There's a link to it.
Oh, lovely.
On YouTube. If you have not seen that yet, please go check it out and let me know. If you do see it, let me know what you think. I'd like to hear your opinions on that.
Max says, Clobby, don't give Dread shaken movie syndrome.
I'll try not to. And of course, our wonderful first officer is an author in her own right. Please. Well, this is Raymond's thing right there. Raymond Feliciano, our wonderful buddy, and of course, Wrench. Sorry, one of those nights is an author as well. There's a link to his book, and our wonderful first officer is also an author. And here's a link to hers.
Yeah.
So that I had to grab it there. I know Eric's in Vegas tonight, so we couldn't get him to handle that. So
I love Eric. I miss Eric. I hope he's having a great time tonight.
I sure do. And so tell us a little bit about your writings, and we'll do our goodbyes.
I'm looking for your support, folks. I write short stories. I write flash fiction. It's a little bit like Edgar Allan Poe. It's a little bit like the old school Outer Limits and the old school Twilight Zone. It's with a little Philip K. Dick thrown in there. That's the sort of flavor of them. And they're under $1. And hopefully I can drum up enough excitement about these 6 short stories that I've published that I can get the other ones out, and I will be able to put them in a book and send them out to all of you signed. And that would just be thrilling for me. And I thank everyone who has purchased one of the stories so far. And thank you for the wonderful reviews. They're just sensational. Thank you so much, everyone. And you can find them on Amazon under my name, R.M. Briggs, and you can also find them on your Kindle device. I'm also on Goodreads if you want to follow me on Goodreads. And speaking of books, I just wanted to let everyone know that you should follow Sandra Feliciano and Raymond Feliciano on Twitter. Next week is going to be their anniversary, and also Raymond Feliciano, who is an author, is planning a book signing. So if you would like to get information on that book signing and maybe go in and meet the great Felicianos and hang out with them, please follow Raymond Feliciano and Sandra Feliciano on Twitter and get information about that book signing. And of course, Clubby and I will be there next week to wish you both a very, very happy anniversary. You guys are just so romantic and sweet and kind and just such a great part of the streaming community. We just appreciate you so much. So an early happy anniversary to you both.
Oh, thank you so much for that. And thank you, and Anti-Derivative Jill. You're wonderful. We love you, Jill. You were too kind. Thank you for that 149 super sticker. You were too kind. Appreciate
Thanks,
you
beautiful.
so much. We love you, and we really love your input. I hope you can make it for our big Roddenberry celebration on Thursday.
That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, as Jill has pointed out, these are the episodes that will be next week, starting season 2.
Yes.
So while we leave it up there, while we'll say our goodbyes, because we love to shout you all out.
We do.
And of course, the great Phantom Outsider. Thank you, buddy. So we'll go. We promise to be quick, everyone.
We will. But you don't have to stay for your shout out, but you should know that we always shout you out because, you know, you put so much work into this community. You're a part of the podcast. You're a part of the live stream. And we want to show that you're a part of this community. So it's as though we all met. And that's what Clubby's tried to create here by creating this space for us to meet. This is his virtual comic book shop. He used to own a comic book shop. He retired from that. And then we wanted to help him create his virtual comic book store, his virtual comic book shop, where we can all go and hang out. So I just want to, before we get started saying goodbye to everyone tonight, I just want to make sure that I say how grateful I am to have this wonderful man in my life. He has turned out to be one of the best friends I've ever had in my life. He is such a smart, funny, and wonderful person. And I thank Clubby so much for creating this space for old school Trekkies. Love you so much, Captain.
I love you too, and thank you so much for that. And great, Jill. I can't wait to see you there. And you know, and since you are also welcome to join us on air if you choose. But if not, fine. But you can just be there. But you were invited, Jill, because I know you would love to have you. So let's see here. Of course, the wonderful aforementioned Felicianos were here tonight, Raymond and Sandra. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. I think she probably had to run off, but we shout you out whether you're gone or not. The wonderful, the beautiful Arwen Avalon. Thank you.
Good night.
The great man of iron, D. Bud Martin.
Yay.
All right, buddy.
Good night, honey. Mwah, mwah. Thank you for coming.
Indeed. Pat S. Buddy. Thanks for being here, man.
Good night, Pat.
the great Snortopupus Cuber.
Gilbert. I love you, Snorty. Sending chin scritches. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I love you very much. You're a good bear.
Stephen Thompson.
Yay, Steven.
Mr. Angel, thank you so much for being here.
Good night, Chef. Thank you so much, Chef.
Indeed. Darth Haster, buddy, popped in early.
Thank you so much.
Zathra 61. Good to see you.
You were outstanding this evening, sir. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Just let me know if you're in for that, Jill. Send me a DM, Twitter DM, or whatever, and will send you a link that day. Just remind me.
It's great. Clobby, you're such a gentleman, and you're so wonderful. Jill, I hope you take him up on the offer. I hope that you're not too shy and you're able to do it because you're fabulous, Jill.
We would love to have you there. But again, like I say, some people like to go in there, some don't. But it's cool if you don't. It's cool. But if you do, great. We'd love to talk to you. Zathras. The great Steve Mitchum had to run, my old time buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, bud.
Love
She will.
you,
Oh, excellent. Great, Jill. Help me remember now, because Jill, I have as you probably noticed already, and what the times you listen to me, I have a garbage memory, so I forget stuff all the time.
You're also very busy, so it's okay. We'll make sure that we remind you.
My excuse, busy, and still terrible memory, Alzheimer's. I'm very old. Tyrell 72. Thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Tyrell, thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend.
Thank you to the great Your Muslim Uncle. We thank you so much for that chat, and then thank you so much that super chat, and thank you for being here, sir.
Yeah, thank you for
Appreciate
your support, and have a great weekend, fine sir.
Thank you so much. Wolfie 762. Appreciate you, Wolfie.
Ow, ow, ow! Love you, Wolfie. Thank you for all of your great comments. You know how much I enjoy your company, and you were excellent tonight. Thank you so much.
The great Mark D with a C, buddy, is always good.
Mark.
Great to have
We
you
love
here, bro.
you.
Appreciate you, man. And of course, the aforementioned and wonderful anti-derivative Jill. Thank you so much, Jill. We appreciate you, Jill.
Love you, Jill.
Let's see here. The wig down popped in earlier. All right, buddy. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you.
Have a great weekend.
The extraordinary. I don't know if he had to leave or not, but we always love him. He's one of the greatest guys ever. The great Chris Persia.
I love Chris.
Rich Canadian.
Love you, Chris.
We know he had to leave, and I thank him for his wonderful super chat. Snail Messiah. I'm really sorry about what happened with that, but we thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, so cool. Thank you so much for supporting our show, and thank you so much for your great comments. And I can't believe that happened with the StreamYard, and we will be certain that will not happen again. So sorry about that.
Captain is Decker the Replicant Spock, buddy. Thank you for popping in, sir. Good to see you.
Captain Spock. I'm just calling you Captain Spock. Your middle name changes too much. We love you, Captain Spock.
Project Story Time, my friend. Thanks for popping in.
Have a good
Phoenix
weekend.
Argus, thank you so much for being here tonight. Appreciate you. Sorry about missing that one you did earlier.
It was so good to see you, Phoenix. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Always great to see our good buddy JT Kirk as well. Thank you.
Yes, JT Kirk. You were hysterical as usual.
Indeed. 1903 TX, thank you. Appreciate seeing you. Great to see you.
Yes, have a good weekend.
The beautiful, wonderful Katie Carr. I hope you're having a wonderful time out there at the Star Trek convention in Vegas with all of our other friends out there. We love you, Katie. Thank you.
Be safe, beautiful. We'll see you soon. Have a good weekend.
Indeed, indeed. The Catman, a.k.a. Dee Dee Myers. Thank you so much for popping in.
Yep.
It's great to see you.
Yep.
It's great to see you. Let's see. Loop Hunter. I think that's how you say it. Popped in earlier. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Max Redstone, my friend, thank you so much for popping in. I hope you're having a great time out there in Vegas. Be safe and continue to have a good time. The great Parrothead popped in. Parrothead, buddy. Keely Chow, Roll Tide. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Nirot, Anaxamanda Bear. I'm getting better at that. I kind of stumbled for a second, but I've been doing better. We're getting better.
Good night, Nirot.
Indeed, Dave G. Sound. Thank you. Punk Waddle. Thank you.
Yep. Good night.
JPRPH1.
Good night.
Thank you. Alara Carosin, thank you for being here tonight.
Nice to see you.
Mega Cropper, someone I've not seen before, but thank you. I hope we see you again. Thank you.
So cool. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the community.
Indeed. Welcome. My boy Tim's Talk popped in earlier. Tim's Talk, good to see you.
Good night.
the great Dadman Walking 55, and hello, big shout out to Mrs. Dadman as well.
Yep. And the whole family. Hello, Dadmans.
And of course, finally, the wonderful Apollome's minion. Love that you popped in there, my dear. Thank you. So everyone, we will play us out here with our the great Stone. No, sorry, Loki is the great. By the way, shout out to. Well, yeah, I should say that. Shout out to the great Stone Loki, Nick, our good friend, Eric, our good friend, and all of our other dear friends out there in Vegas. Now, wait a minute. Why are we being nice to you? You get to be in Vegas and we don't. Listen, no, I'm just kidding. We love you guys. We appreciate you, and I'm glad you have that great meetup there out there. I know you're all, some of you going to the TrekCon, some of you aren't, but so many of our wonderful friends are gathered out today. I would have been out there if I could have.
Yeah.
And next year I'm going to try. So I hope you are all having a fantastic time. I know you got one more. Some of you have one more day. Some of them actually came back last night. But Father Christopher Miller and Nick with Echo Base and all kinds of great people went out there. And shout out to the Geeks and Gamers people. And, of course, Gary at Nerdrotic for setting that thing up for everyone. That is fantastic of him to do that. And they all had a wonderful time. I know that. And they're all still having one. So just be careful out there, all you people in Vegas, and can have a wonderful night. I know you're all partying right now. And that is fantastic. We're happy for you. And we wish you the best on that. And so big shout out, of course, to my wonderful first officer for this wonderful opening and intro, outro, and a shout out to Mark D for his help with that as well. Good night, everyone. See you next week. Well, see you Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and next Saturday, I hope. Have a good one.